Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto finds his parents summons beast. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Succubus Queen 100 and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. 5 years have passed after the Kyuubi's attack on the village hidden in the leaves, Konohagakure, and it is in its orphanage where our story begins. Today, many children, either abandoned by their parents, or dropped off there as a child when they lost their family, live most of their day there, till they are adopted by loving people. After a large uptick of orphan children after the Kyuubi attack, most of the children were adopted either by relatives or kind people. In fact, most of the children usually only stayed a few years in the orphanage before they are adopted, except for one. The child whose hair was as yellow as the sun itself, and with a round face adorned with 3 whiskers on his cheeks, with eyes that were as blue as the sky, is named Uzumaki Naruto. And even with clothes that are a bit old and shorts covered in a bit of dirt, it could not mask his sunny disposition. He's also the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi, all without ever knowing about it. It is for this reason why Naruto had never been adopted, nor why the other children never played with him. The civilian, who called him a demon behind his back, are equally too scared and hated him too much to adopt him. Most of his life he have been mistreated by the civilian in the village, even a few of the ninjas, mostly the chunins, has treated him poorly. Though the one that targeted him the most was the old lady that runs the orphanage, Naruto had never learned of her name, and he never wanted to. Any chance that she gets, the old lady would beat him up, punching and kicking while calling him a demon, and should any of the other staff treat Naruto well, they would be threatened by the old lady. And should they persevere, they would be fired soon after for no reason. Even in the rare chance that someone tried to adopt Naruto, he would soon be returned to the orphanage. Most simply wanted the stipend for adopting an orphan, kicking him out of their home as soon as they could, returning Naruto to the orphanage and to the old lady's abuse. And yet, for all the abuse he would receive in the orphanage, there was one day when it seemed to become tenfold worse that he would prefer to be in the orphanage. His birthday, the day he was born, and the day when the Kyuubi attacked and were defeated by the 4th Hokage. Naruto had learned that on that day, staying in the orphanage was the safest he could be, the reason he was trying to hide in the attic. And also the reason the old lady seemed hellbent on kicking him out so that the villagers could beat Naruto to a pulp, and she could claim that she was innocent. Come on, brat. You've been inside the attic for far too long, you need to get out of there. In fact, why not play in the yard? The old lady said in a faux sweet voice as she was planning for this day to be Naruto's last day in the orphanage, as she was planning on never letting him back in. She knows that the civilian council would make sure of it, as some of them hated the demon brat as well. Just as she was at the bottom of the steps, there was a ringing noise telling her that someone was on the front lobby, as she hears the voice of a young woman from the front of the building. Hello? Is anyone here? Thinking fast, the old lady grabbed Naruto by the legs, dragging him out of his hiding spot and shoved him to one of her staff, who had to watch her drag the poor child by the feet. Keep him here while I'll deal with whomever it is, and don't even think about raiding me out, or you're fired, and I'll make sure you'll never get another job. She threatened as the young lady bowed her head with a fearful look, before following her order, dragging the demon brat away. I really hope that old bat get what coming to her, because this is too much. This is a child that needs a good home, and not be treated like this, the young lady thought in her head as she watched her boss go to the front desk. As the old lady went to the lobby, she spotted a young woman dressed in a light pink-colored dress with ninja high-heel shoe. She has maroon-colored hair, and orange eyes that burnished as if it was made of fire. On one of her bare arm was a symbol that is unknown to the old lady, as she has never seen anything like it before. The old lady smiled sweetly, as she walked over to the women, thinking that she was one of the civilian that come to adopt Naruto, their cover before the beating begins. Why hello there, what can I help you this fine evening? The young woman smiled back, unknowing what the old lady was thinking about. Hello, it's indeed nice to meet you. I'm looking for a child to adopt. The woman spoke with a hint of sadness, as if she was admitting some kind of fault that she can't have a child of her own. The old lady's smile did not change at all, not noticing the hint of sadness in the woman's voice. After all, why would she? She was too busy imagining the demon brat being tortured to pay any mind to the cover story or the woman in front of her. I see, well, most of the children here were already adopted, but there's one I think you might like. The orphanage matron said before speaking her true intent inside her own head. As well to beat to death, hee. Really, then that's good. Where are my manners? You can call me Kiki. It's nice to meet you, the woman said as she extended her hand for a handshake. The matron didn't return, too busy wanting to get the demon brat out of her orphanage. The matron then took Kiki to where the young caretaker and Naruto are at, pleased seeing that they never left the spot. Naruto, seeing the matron returning, hid being the young lady, knowing that he was going to be abandoned and left in the street as the mob would beat him up, trying his best to delay that inevitability. He was right, of course. Kiki, noticing Naruto's fear, as well as the hand mark that is now starting to bruise around his limbs, was shocked. She then said something that caught both the caretaker and matron off guard, doubly so for the old lady. Why is the child so afraid, and why are his wrists bruised? The old lady, finally realizing that she was not talking to one of her collaborators, panicked. Demon brat or not, Naruto is a member of the village, and therefore under the purview of the Hokage. Should any news that they were abusing Naruto leak, it would her head on the chopping block. Oh that? Naruto here is a bit clumsy, you see? He tends to get hurt a lot. She lied through her teeth, as this was something she was not expecting to happen. Although now that I think about it, there might be a few kids that you'd be interested in. The matron was cut off as the young caretaker that Naruto has taken to be hiding behind had enough of being complicit in child abuse. With one last look at the scared Naruto, the caretaker steeled herself and decided that a job that required her to abuse children was one that she would prefer not to have in the first place. That's a load of crap, you old hag. How could you live with yourself when you're planning on kicking out Naruto off the orphanage, so you can have people torture him for something that wasn't his fault? The young lady shouted, somewhat scaring Naruto, and causing the matron to turn red in apoplectic rage. The young caretaker soon realized her mistake when the matron began stalking towards her, intending to hurt her for daring to stand against her. Luckily for the young caretaker, Kiki also had enough. Moving so fast that none of the civilians noticed, a sickly crack and scream was heard from the orphanage, as the old lady's arms were snapped in half. Naruto and the other caretaker could only look in shock as blood was shed as the old lady flopped down on her knees like a puppet without strings. The old lady looked at Kiki with fear in her old eyes. As she looked into Kiki's eyes, though, she saw something that shocked her very soul. In Kiki's eye, where the matron simply took it as a trick of the eye, there were actually a bit of flames. But more than that strange visage, the old lady could see something else. That is, her death at the hands of Kiki. But where in the real world Kiki was a somewhat beautiful woman, in that vision she was replaced with a devil smiling wickedly. And then, to her shock, the devil Kiki raised a blade like a pitchfork and plunged it into her heart. At that instant, the old lady gasped, as pain seemed to blossom from her chest radiating outwards until she could not take it anymore, and her eyes rolled to the back of her head as she fell unconscious. Naruto and the young lady could only look on in shock, seeing the old lady seem to flop on the ground, dead like a rock. The both of them looked fearfully at Kiki, who had begun relaxing before she noticed the scared look the two of them were giving her, with the young lady surreptitiously moving Naruto behind her to protect him. Seeing the scared looks the two were giving her, Kiki sighed as it seems that she has to explain herself. Sorry about that, the matron isn't dead or anything, she's just passed out. What you saw there was my jutsu, which I call demonic death. It shows anyone that looked into my eyes their own death for an instant. I, of course, only used it on my enemies or anyone that threatened me harm. She explained as Naruto starting to look at Kiki with stars in his eyes, thinking that she was a ninja. Oh, and it also has an odd effect where my eyes will appear to have flames in them, Kiki said with a giggle. The young lady that was protecting Naruto looked at Kiki, somewhat relaxed that she hasn't just witnessed a murder, but still on guard at the now revealed ninja. I see, she said with a bit of a strained smile on her face. Who would have thought a ninja with that kind of jutsu existed? Does that mean that the mean old lady is not going to torture me anymore, big sister Talia? Naruto said, the young lady now known as Talia, who nodded her head yes. Hearing the answer, Naruto then started jumping around, singing a little song as she did so. And the song he's singing is, "The Wicked Witch is Dead." Kiki giggled a bit seeing this, before looking at Talia. I take it that she had it coming for a long time. Talia nodded, as she started to explain to Kiki what the old lady, as well as the village, did to Naruto, what abuse they had heaped on the innocent child. To say that Kiki was very angry would be an understatement. In fact, her mind in such a jumble that her control relaxed a bit as her true form started leaking out, her skin gaining a purplish tinge as her canines started to lengthen. Thankfully, it only lasted an instant, too fast for the two civilians to notice, before she regained control of her emotion back. I see, that's very unfortunate, but like I said to the human waste here, I'm here to adopt a child. She then smiled as she looked at Naruto, who was still dancing. And I believe that Naruto here checks all the criteria I wanted in a child. Hearing that, Naruto stopped dancing and looked at Kiki's eyes, showing a combination of shock and hope that he would finally have a family of his own. A desire that only kept growing as other children from the orphanage got adopted. Naruto ran up to Kiki and gave her a hug, as he cried, Kiki returning the hug as she was happy to finally have a child of her own. After seeing the warm moment for a second more, the young lady went to get the adoption papers. As for Naruto, he went running around the orphanage to get his belongings, hidden as to not have it confiscated by the matron. This, however, leave Kiki alone to deal with the dead body. She took one last glare at the dead hag that had done so many horrible things to her soon-to-be son. With a snap of her finger, a summoning circle appeared underneath the dead body, and with a flash of light, a red hand with massive claws adorned with rings that have unknown writing on them grabbed the dead body. Finally, a final snap and the hand dragged the corpse into the summoning circle, and with another flash, the summoning circle disappeared as well along with the dead body, making it appear as if nothing had happened. Not even the pool of blood was left. Hope grew in torture that had real good before grinding her into paste and giving it to Synth. Kiki murmured to herself before snapping out of it as she heard Naruto running down the steps, bringing with him a frog wallet and a little plushie of a fox. "I'm ready to go now, Mom." Naruto spoke haltingly with a smile, his words confirming that he already views Kiki as a mother. If cuteness was a weapon, Kiki would have died 3 times over just by looking at his cute smile. Sadly, once again, something else just have to rain on Kiki's parade. For a moment, Kiki was confused when Naruto brought only 2 items when he had said that he would be bringing down all of his belongings. For a moment, Kiki wanted to ask him about his clothes, only to remember that little Naruto only had the clothes on his back. And the one he's wearing was old, more rags than proper clothes. "I'm going to have to fix that once we're home," she thought as she rubbed Naruto's head affectionately, which resulted in him pouting a bit, but not doing anything to stop Kiki. After waiting for a few minutes more, Talia finally returned with the adoption papers in hand, before she halted in her steps as she noticed the body was gone, along with the pool of blood. "What happened to the body?" "I had a shadow clone take care of it, since it might be better to make sure that her body is hard to find." Hard to find, hee, more that they would never find it at all. She thought to herself as she took the documents from Talia and began writing the necessary details. Once she finished, Naruto was now officially her child and she had the papers to prove it. "Alrighty. Look like everything is in order, Miss What?" As Talia took a cursory glance at the papers to make sure that everything is in order, she noticed one small detail. She then looked at Kiki and Naruto a couple of times with a disbelieving look on her face. "Is there something wrong?" Kiki said, as she raised her eyebrows, wondering if something was wrong. Yes, I was not expecting that you're also an Uzumaki," Talia said, and Naruto, who was playing with his fox plushie, looked at Kiki in surprise. "Your last name is Uzumaki too. We have the same last name." Naruto shouted happily as the font of energy hopped around, shouting "We have the same last name" a few times. Kiki smiled at the kid's antics, happy to see that her new son was so active. Perhaps the damage done by that horrid, now dead, woman was not so permanent. The sight distracted Kiki for a good while, but as she looked at Talia to answer her unasked question, it seemed that the caretaker didn't mind the distraction. "Well, I thought I was the last one, but looks like I'm not, hee." Kiki giggled as she then shook her head at the unexpected coincidence of finding another Uzumaki. "I'll still be adopting him as my son though, even if we are actually already related." Talia nodded her head, even though it was hard to get her head around the fact of how lucky it was that Naruto would find a relative in such an unexpected way. The boy deserved a run of good luck to counter just how horrid his life had been, in her opinion. Still, appreciating the fact that Kami is looking out for the poor boy, Talia started working on the adoption form to legalize his adoption. As the forms are filled, the day soon turned to evening, and it was time to take Naruto to his new home, as said child was starting to feel sleepy. Picking up the kid in a piggyback, Naruto soon fell asleep, ruffling the hairs of his new mom. It was quite fortuitous that the kid is already asleep, as before Kiki could even leave the building, the sight beyond the front door's windows stopped her in her tracks. Kiki could see a multitude of people waiting outside, mostly civilians, but she could see a smattering of ninjas here and there, or maybe just civilians holding ninja weapons. And judging by the torches and the look on their faces, they are not up to anything good, and Kiki had an idea of what they're here for. Seems like I can't leave this way," Kiki said as she looked at Talia, who was now looking pale and was starting to shake as she saw just how many people are outside. "If you wouldn't mind, I'll just leave in a different way." Talia, looking confused, and in no small amount shocked, spoke, "Sure, just as long as it doesn't hurt Naruto," she said, as she was already thinking up of a suitable lie to the mob waiting outside. With a smile, Kiki and Naruto disappeared in a puff of smoke. The last thing Talia heard was Kiki's voice, her voice appearing all around her, and nowhere at the same time. "Don't worry, I'm not going to let them do that to my son." Before she could comment on the weirdness of ninjas, a shout broke Talia out of her fugue. Quickly stuffing the adoption forms in one of the random shelves, Talia schooled herself before opening the front door, to the sight of a disheveled man, who, judging by the smell, is also drunk. "Yes, can I help you?" she said, as the man, and a part of the mob, rushed inside to look for the demon child. "We're here for the child, he was supposed to be out here by now," a fat male civilian shouted as many of the mob nodded their heads. "Ah, him? Well, just to let you know, the matron had already kicked him out of the orphanage. I did it earlier since the matron went for a long walk, seeing that the child will be no longer welcome here. You'll probably find him wandering about the village somewhere." She lied, and for a frozen breath she was worried that they wouldn't believe her, but she didn't need to worry as the mob quickly believed her and started dispersing to look for the demon child. "Thank you, miss, and we'll leave you the money that we promised the matron. Give it to her along with our thanks. Cammy willing, tonight we'll finally wipe that taint from the village," he said, handing Talia a big bag of money, before he turned around and raised his hand, that Talia just noticed was holding some kind of makeshift weapon. "Let the fox hunt begin. The monster's day is numbered," he yelled as all the civilians raised their torches and weapons along with him as they started searching, the people that had rushed inside the orphanage following soon after. Talia, after closing the door, put the money bag on the counter as the orphanage was now empty with no child inside. Talia, for the first time in her life, could run the place how she wanted, no longer barred with the old lady rotting somewhere, no longer able to stop her. Now, she would get to work on making the orphanage what it's supposed to be, a home for those abandoned or without a home. In one of the district in the Leaf Village, a couple of blocks away from the Hokage Tower, in a secret lot that not even the third Hokage could easily find, there is a house. A house that can't be torn down, as anyone who try would either get wounded or burst into flames, that is of course, if they can find it in the first place. And even if they could, they wouldn't. As luck would have it, the house could be found by people that are lost, only to never find it again even if they retraced their steps. And even when they could only see it in a glimpse, its unique architecture would stay in their minds, and in their nightmares. And so the house becomes a source of rumor and scary stories. The lucky, or perhaps unlucky, few that had the chance to glimpse it, called it a cursed house. How could they not do so? The 4-story building were painted in the color of blood, seemingly fresh and dripping, some said by the blood of anyone unlucky enough to find the house. But of course the truth of the matter is less scary than that, or perhaps more so for those familiar with the Uzumaki. The house dripping red with blood were nothing but a facade, an illusion to those that had no business with the Uzumaki compound. The land itself were sealed so that those without Uzumaki blood or a close friend of one could not even see the front door. To the actually lucky few, they would see a beautifully painted house, in shades of reds, oranges, and yellows. The main building of the Uzumaki compound is much larger than the illusion painted over it. The compound itself is as large as the Hyuga and the Uchiha compound put together, with lakes teeming with fishes native to the land of Whirlpool dotting the landscape. One could even see a few octopus and squid, as the lake had a seal that let many ocean animals live in the lake. Disturbing the previously tranquil atmosphere, Kiki popped in the compound, still holding a sleeping Naruto as she walked inside the house. Though to anyone watching, somehow, Kiki would appear like a monster holding a bloody corpse, to be eaten, most likely. Nothing more than the effect of the seal, as the Uzumaki can be a bit paranoid at times. Once Kiki was inside, a snap of her finger lit the candles, strategically placed as to make sure to make anyone watching believe that the house was haunted. With Naruto now out of the grasp of the civilians that wanted him harm, Kiki smiled. "It's good to be home," she said as she walked up to the second floor and into a room that have many toys that doesn't seem to have ever been touched, and a nice bed that have a yellow creature printed on the blanket. Placing Naruto on the bed and covering him in the blanket, she turned on a night light and whispered something into the sleeping Naruto's ears. "I'm glad to finally found you, my little pranking devil." As she closed the door and walked to her room, that was next to Naruto's, she stepped inside. Her appearance started to change. The form-fitting dress turned into one made out of cloth, with stripes, and an armor plate appeared around her chest, as she also grows taller by 3 more feet, to a total height of 10.5 feet, 3.2 meters, tall. Inhumanly tall, even in the world of ninjas. Her peach-colored skin soon followed, turning into a dark purple mixed with pink, as her shoulder-length hair lengthened until it reached her now much more plump butt. Her chest, that was around a C-cup before, grew as well to a proportional to her height, G-cup making it jiggle a bit. Furthermore, her canine teeth grew out, as her canine lengthened in a bit of a curve as it popped out of her lips for the world to see. Then, as if to make her look as demonic as possible, her head sprouted 3 horns. 2 short ones being on the side and a long one on her forehead. Then lastly, her scare became black as night, and her eye color still stayed the same as fire hover out and around it. Kiki was actually an Oni, one of the many boss summoned from the demonic summoning scrolls, where every monster, demon, and yokai resides, and are the most powerful summoning in the elemental nation. The reason they are powerful and feared is because they can come to this world without being summoned first by anyone. They could live how they want, as they can't be summoned by anyone. That is, but by one clan to which they are loyal to, even in death. The Uzumaki clan. The reason for their loyalty to the clan was when the first Uzumaki clan was made, the leader of the clan had beaten the leader of the demon clan in battle. The Uzumaki clan was very smart as they were the master of sealing, and had made many seals that a few are still being used to this day. They were also great warrior as they fought and won many battles on the battlefield, as one Uzumaki can destroy a clan village in seconds. One day, the first head of the Uzumaki stumbled onto a group of demon, monster, and yokais as one of the leader, that was a silver Oni, of the group was planning an attack on their soon-to-be village. Befitting the hot-heated Oni, rather than retreating to plan another attack, the silver Oni challenged the Uzumaki leader then and there. Equally enraged, the Uzumaki leader agreed, to the jeers of the demons and yokai, who couldn't even imagine a mere human being able to defeat their Oni leader in a one-on-one battle. Oh, how wrong they were. The battle lasted for 5 days and nights, each blow shaking the very earth itself. In the end, the battle ended in a draw, with both sides not being to even lift their hands anymore. Unexpectedly, rather than having bad blood between them, the two leaders started laughing uproariously, as they explained to their subordinates later, they never expected to lose. Such a rare occurrence being a source of joy, rather than hate. It was no wonder then, that when they finally regained control of their body, rather than resuming the fight, they both shook hands, and for the sign of their friendship created a summoning scroll. One that would allow the Uzumakis, and only the Uzumakis to summon demons as their contracted summon. To serve as a sparring partner. Yes, perhaps the strongest and most dangerous summoning scroll was created so that the Battle Junkie clan leader could have a sparring partner on call. And that relationship remained strong through the ages. To this day, even though the Uzumakis were wiped out on the Second Ninja World Wars, the demons were still loyal to the Uzumaki. Each and one of the demons vowing to carry the Uzumaki name, and should they find a survivor, they would protect them and treat them like family. With one last look at his precious charge, Kiki suddenly felt the tiredness born of the day's events, as short and as eventful as they are. With a yawn and a stretch, Kiki felt tired as heck, as it was a long day for her and her charge. She couldn't help but moaned a bit as she popped every joint in her body, feeling relief. Leaving the room, she headed to her bedroom to lay rest for the night. In the morning she would tell Naruto what she is, and about his clan. She just hoped that the leader of the demonic clan doesn't ring up her bell for not telling them that she had found the last Uzumaki. Chapter 2, Ch2. The next day. As the morning sun rises in the sky above the village hidden in the leaf, the civilians that were hunting a certain demon boy last night returned home, empty-handed. Grumbling to themselves, some complaining that the demon brat had escaped them this year, but next year they would make the beating doubly worse to make up for this year. As they returned to their home, they shared one single thought. Where was the demon child, and how did he manage to escape them so well? At the same time, the little 5-year-old that so many people were looking for awoke in a place he was not familiar with. Seeing the wall painted in an ocean-like pattern, dotted with many beautiful sea animals and birds, the wall painting was so realistic it made him feel as if he was actually there. Spotting one of the cabinets lining the wall, Naruto noticed that it was brimming with toys that he had never seen before. Not in the orphanage, and not even in the hands of the many children with their parents doting on them. Just then, he remembered the events that had happened yesterday, and jumped out of bed with a smile. It wasn't a dream. It was real, really real. He shouted as he jumped around happily, as he then went to play with his toys a bit, and then to jump on the bed for a while. Naruto was literally brimming with happiness, and his giddiness and overactiveness was a response to it. Perhaps it was a response to finally being able to act out when he couldn't the previous 5 years period, in a safe place where no one would hurt him. All this done without even knowing the fact that Kiki, who was in her human form, was at the door smiling at her little devil. Surreptitiously, Kiki pulled out a camera and took a picture of Naruto while he was in midair, a happy smile on his face as he landed with a thump on the bed, somewhat blinded by the camera's flash. Huh! What was that? Naruto complained, as he rubbed his eye a bit from the flash of the camera. Kiki giggled as Naruto looked at her direction, attracted by the sound, as she was smiling before showing him the photo she had just taken. You were so cute I have to take a picture, and I got to say I got the perfect shot of you, son. Kiki smiled as Naruto's eyes widened in surprise for a bit before he smiled and giggled happily as he saw the picture of him jumping on his bed. Now with that over with, let go make some breakfast, Kiki smiled as Naruto cheered loudly with joy, as he started running to the kitchen, or at least where he thought the kitchen was, only to double back just as quickly, with an embarrassed look on his face. Where's the kitchen, Mom? Naruto spoke quietly, embarrassed that he was about to run in a random direction, searching hopelessly for the kitchen. Kiki couldn't help it, she burst out laughing at how cute her new son looked as she picked him up to take him to the kitchen, as she said, Sure thing, son, and once we are done I'll give you a tour of your new home. Kiki sing-songed as she gave him a kiss on the cheek, with her giggling and Naruto looking red as a tomato. In the Konoha Council Room, in the Hokage Tower. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, also known in the elemental nations as the Professor, was starting to lose his temper, losing control of his massive chakra reserves, causing the building to shake minutely. He had woken up this morning, only to find out that there was a council meeting going. Usually a normal thing, early morning meetings were not a novelty for the elderly Hokage, except for one thing. It was going on without his presence. Worse, it was the civilian council that had convened the meeting. They even had the gall to have the heads of some of the shinobi clan present as well. It was lucky enough for Hiruzen that Hana from the Inuzuka clan had told him that such a meeting has taken place, as she and her mother were also asked, no, ordered, to attend the meeting. A civilian had dared to order one of his shinobi around. As he walked to the door to the meeting room, he can hear shouting and threats being thrown around, no doubt a member of the civilian council. His ninjas have better discipline than to shout useless threats. Slamming the door open, he marched up to his seat, quickly silencing the room as those inside were shocked silence to see the professor with a wrathful look on his face. Why is there a meeting being convened, without my knowledge, let alone my approval? Hiruzen said quietly, but with each of his words laced with killing intent, as he glared at the civilian side, who not seconds ago was berating his shinobi. One of the civilian, perhaps the one with the least amount of self-preservation, stood up with an arrogant huff, before he started speaking in a rude tone. Hokage! It seems that the demo. Before he could finish speaking, Hiruzen released his control over his killing intent, as the man seemed to choke on his tongue before quickly correcting himself. Good, it seems that there is some semblance of self-preservation in him. Too bad it was not enough for him to stop speaking. I mean, the orphan known as Naruto Uzumaki seemed to have disappeared from his orphanage. We couldn't even find him as we had searched for him all night yesterday. More like hunting him, since it was his birthday yesterday. Some Inuzuka, the head of the Inuzuka clan, said as she was boiling mad that they would hurt an innocent child like Naruto. She had seen him many times on the street as mobs, big and small, would beat him up, before one of the ninjas would step in or an umbu, to rescue the poor child. Some had to restrain her maternal instinct to kill the bastards hurting Naruto. Hiruzen slamming his hand as he looked at the civilian side with more anger than anyone have seen. Is this true that you were planning on hurting the boy again? He shouted as the civilian who had spoken seemed to forget his fears and got angry instead. Of course not, Lord Hokage. We were not planning on doing such a thing. We were simply looking for him since he is a civilian. He lied through his teeth, as some of the civilians on his side agreed with him, with only two, the Haruno and Talia, not doing so. Seeing such blatant disrespect to his station and authority, a vein seemed to pop on the Hokage's face, and perhaps a tinge of disbelief at the gall of the civilians in front of him to lie so blatantly. Do you expect me to believe that load of crap of a lie? Hiruzen finally lost his control, as all but a few on the civilian council side immediately passed out, or even soiled themselves, as waves of killing intent crashed on them. Talia and Haruno almost bewildered at just how quickly things got out of hand, though not unexpected since they know just how close the Hokage is to Naruto. The idiots were lucky that they were not dead yet. Umbu. Take these trash away to the tea for questioning. And Inoichi. I want you to mind walk to see what they know, but leave the Haruno and Miss Talia here, also clean this mess the trash had left. I don't want this room to be filled with this horrible smell a moment longer. The Umbu, hidden in the nooks and crannies, nodded as the civilian that were still awake were shouting many things in their defense, to no avail of course, before being roughly transferred out of the room. Soon, the only ones left in the meeting room were the shinobi, alongside the Haruno, and Talia on the civilian side. I'm getting too old for this shit. Hiruzen grumbled to himself. So I'm guessing this will be the last of the civilian council then, hee. Mabuki Haruno, the head of the Haruno family, said as she was glad that they are gone. After all, it was very annoying to keep on hearing them talking about gaining more money, and ways to kill the demon brat. Indeed, creating a new civilian council would be a mistake unless there are some that are better, and would make sure Naruto is okay. Hayashi Hyuga spoke, surprising some of the people in the room, less that he had spoken in the defense of Naruto, and more of the fact that he had spoken at all. After all, as most knows, the Hyuga were supposed to be stuck UPS that have no emotions at all. I couldn't agree more, Hiruzen said as he then looked at Talia. I believe there's a reason why Miss Koi isn't here, since most of the council's summons wanted to bring her in to speak. Hiruzen spoke, dispelling the wind jutsu that he was using to isolate the smell of excrement, now that his umbu had cleaned them. The rest of the council, or what remained of them at least, leaned forward in their seat. They too are curious about that fact. Talia nodded before speaking. You are right, and with the civilians gone, all I could say is that the old hag finally got what was coming to her. It seemed that she had finally angered someone that she couldn't afford to offend. She's dead, hopefully burning in hell. The council were shocked to hear Talia speak so crudely since she was a kind soul, though everyone on the council agreed that the matron to one of Konoha's orphanage deserved it. She was a singularly odious woman, also one very connected with the civilian council. Yesterday a woman had come into the orphanage looking to adopt, and had taken a liking to little Naruto. Well, seeing Naruto's reaction to the matron's presence, and the bruises on him, this kind woman took exception to the way the matron had treated Naruto. The hag lied, of course, and I couldn't help it and shouted the truth. Before the hag could strike me, her arm snapped and the skin on it was gone. And I don't know how, but just one look from the kind woman and the hag dropped dead, choking. The room was dead silent as they each were shocked to hear the course of events. The fact that the garbage in the shape of a human had died was something to be rejoiced over, but the way she died was still shocking. And Noichi asking the question that was on everyone's mind. How was such a thing possible? She said it was a jutsu called demonic death, though I've never heard of such a thing. The way she explained it to me, it was something that makes anyone that she considered an enemy to see how they're going to die, and when I think how that resulted in the hag's dead isn't something that I wanted to ask. Talia reported, before she began mumbling, still wondering how the woman had accomplished such a jutsu without any hand seals. But even after all that, she still wanted to adopt Naruto, and since she seemed like she would protect him, I allowed it. Of course, after completing all the necessary documents, Talia said, bringing out the paper and handed to the Hokage. Hiruzen hums as he read the adoption paper before handing it to the other to read. I see. Well, I could only see this as a great thing, since young Naruto can finally have a normal life. Talia nodded, opening her mouth to speak, but before she could speak, she was cut off by a gasp of surprise from Shikaku Nara from all people. Seeing where his eyes were focused on, Talia could understand the surprise. Inoichi looked at his friend and longtime teammate with worry, as it was the first time he had ever shown such a reaction. Very few things could surprise the Jonin commander, after all. Is there a problem, Shikaku? Was there really something that surprising in that adoption papers? Yes, but not the bad kind. This Kiki person is an Uzumaki. Shikaku almost shouted as those near Shikaku started leaning over to look and see it was true. Hiruzen looked at Talia for her to explain herself, before admonishing himself for missing such a detail. Perhaps he was too used to seeing the Uzumaki name on Naruto that he missed the blatantly obvious. I was about to get to that, since I was shocked too. It's actually a good thing to know that Naruto might have more family out there. She smiled, with the rest of the room agreeing, even the taciturn Hayashi. An hour later the meeting was finished with the occupants of the room returning to their daily activities, although one of them wished that they would have more time to themselves rather than wasting it on the bloody paperwork. Back at the Uzumaki compound. In the dining room, Naruto and Kiki were busy eating breakfast, Naruto enjoying his pancake, as it was one of the many things that he liked other than ramen. Not as good as ramen though. After all, ramen was food of the gods. Enjoying your breakfast, Naruto? Kiki asked as she was eating pancake as well, although hers was dotted with blueberries unlike Naruto's plain ones. Naruto nodding his head as he enjoyed his breakfast with his mom. Good, because there's something that you need to know, something we need to talk about. Kiki spoke, looking downward to spear a blueberry, missing Naruto's looking at her with a bit of fear and sadness, expecting some bad news. He knew that being adopted by such a kind person was too good to be true, and he suddenly found that he had lost his appetite. Kiki was very much surprised when she looked back at Naruto to see him with tears in his eyes. I'll get my things, recalling just what she said, and thinking on how it could be taken. Kiki crossed the distance between her and Naruto in an instant before the child could even leave the table with tears in his eyes. As Naruto looked, he was surprised to see tears in his new mother's eyes. No! Don't leave, I didn't mean like that. Kiki felt ashamed of herself for saying something that had hurt Naruto, intended or not. Naruto looked confused as he wondered what she really meant then. The other person saying that they have something to talk about is usually the prelude to bad news. What I meant by saying that I want to talk is that I want to tell you the truth about myself. Not something as ridiculous as not wanting you anymore. Naruto, hearing the explanation, rubbed his tears away, sighing in relief. If it wasn't about tea then, what was it you were going to tell me, Mom? He said, tilting his head, now curious. Kiki wanted nothing more than to take pictures of just how cute her son was acting, but resolved herself, what she needed to tell her son was much more important. Kiki then started explaining about his family, the Uzumaki clan, about how they are very smart, even smarter than the Nara clan, and that the Uzumaki were fierce warriors as well. She told him about the summoning contract that the demons had made, and about how the demons were seeking the revival of the Uzumaki. About the fact that she was an Oni, not human, and one of the boss summoning of said contract. Kiki could only close her eyes as she finished her story, a necessity as a relationship built on lies could not last, but one that she feared nonetheless. A demon is a feared being. Perhaps if Naruto was raised among his clan, he would be more used to the demons. But he wasn't. Kiki feared how Naruto would react. Would he scream in fear? Would he try to run away? Perhaps he might even want to return to the orphanage, not wanting to associate with a demon. Whatever reaction she expected, what she received was the last thing she expected. She definitely didn't expect for Naruto to start running around the house screaming happily. My mom is an awesome boss summon! He shouted before he then crashed into her legs, since he had his eyes closed when he re-entered the kitchen. Oh. I'm okay. Kiki started laughing as happy tears rolled down her cheeks. She knelt down and patted Naruto's head, making him giggle a bit. I'm glad that you accepted me for what I am, Naruto. For a moment I thought you were going to scream in fear, saying things like I was going to grind your bones or something. Naruto giggled, before pawing a bit as Kiki continued speaking. Onis don't do such things, it's more the giants that grind bones. It's their way of demanding payments for being summoned. You see. She joked as Uzumaki can summon them without such payments, only people not of Uzumaki blood needed to give such payments, otherwise it's the summoner's bones instead that is used as the price. Naruto's paleness only lasted for a bit, snapping out of it, at the mention of fantastic creatures straight out of the stories like giants. For real? They're giants too. Can I summon them as well? Kiki nodded her head, glad that her son was taking such revelations well. Yes, since the giants fall into the class of monsters. She then started to explain about the class of summons that her son in the future could summon, perhaps with a bit of a bias, as she herself is part of the Yukai class. You see, Naruto, each of the demonic summons could be classified into 3 classes. The monster class, beings that use the element that they are born from and use close combat, or use part of their body as a weapon. Then there's the demon class, preferring instead to use magic and spells a lot, as well magical artifact for combat. And lastly are the yokai, being both a mix of both as they tend to use whatever they can even come back from the dead if they were killed in combat. She also explained that some could also be a crossbreed of the 3. For example, if you have a Rathlos, that is a flying wyvern and from the monster class, to crossbreed with a devil hound, that is from the demon class, the result would be a devil wyvern, which belonged to both monster and demon class. She said as she held up the 3 pictures of said monster and demon and their crossbreed. Naruto was looking at the devil hound wyvern hybrid, and it was a strange sight. Looking closely, it looked as if it had 4 legs, but actually its front 2 legs were actually scales and fur that only looked like legs. Its head has a resemblance to that of a dog, but it had a beak at the end of its mouth with teeth lining the insides. The color was a mix of silver and crimson red, with its tail was that of a Scythe instead of a spiked club. She's so pretty. Naruto unconsciously blurted out with Kiki bursting out laughing as Naruto looked at her with a pout. That's not nice, Mom, I'm just saying what true. She wheezed as she laughed a bit more before explaining. Hee why you not wrong there that the crossbreed is indeed pretty HRK. But she is really a he. She then laughed even more as Naruto blushed in embarrassment, before starting to laugh as well as it is indeed a funny mistake to make. They continued to laugh before getting interrupted. I see you couldn't resist humiliating me again, dear Kiki. A new voice said in a bit of anger as Naruto stopped laughing, shocked. Turning around to the source of the voice, he saw a young man wearing a coat that was a mix of silver and crimson, and a weird mask that resembled a mix of a wolf mask and plague doctor mask. What caught Naruto's attention was the Scythe-like tail behind him that moved left and right, agitated. Naruto, being the excitable child that he is, couldn't help but shout out his thought, also showing his intelligence in recognizing the man just from the way he looked. It's the pretty man. Naruto shouted as Kiki, who was trying to stop laughing as it is quite rude to laugh at a person's appearance, immediately burst out laughing once again, this time even pounding the floor, making the village feel a mini tremor. Haha. Pretty man. He got your nickname, right off the bat, Taro. Ha ha ha. Kiki laughed even more as tears started streaming from her eyes for laughing too much. The now named Taro, unable to bear the embarrassment, hit Kiki and Naruto in the head in a bid to make them stop laughing. Both mother and child rubbed their head in pain, although Naruto was crying, muttering I didn't know it was supposed to be an insulting nickname, while Taro had a tick mark on his head as he pointed at Naruto. You, I don't like you. And you. Pointing at Kiki next, who had recovered a bit faster. You are a bad influence on him already. Kiki just snorted. It not my fault. I never actually mentioned your nickname, Taro, Kiki said in a sing-song voice, which only annoyed Taro more while only causing Naruto to giggle. Then, as if the previous joking Kiki was just a mirage, she adopted a serious look as she know why he's here. I take it the elders are wondering why I didn't come visit them with Naruto already? Taro nodded as she could only sigh. Her fellow demons can be so scatterbrained sometimes. Of course I didn't, you dumbass. What do you think would happen if I bring poor Naruto here, who had fallen asleep to a normal room, only to wake up seeing fire and lava out of his window, She said as Naruto had a shocked look. I, for instance, would probably freak out if that happened to me. Well, if I was a human at least. Fine, I too would probably freak out if I was a human and brought somewhere that could be mistaken for hell. Taro conceded the last part, as it would probably be frightening to any kids. So, does that mean we're going somewhere? Naruto said as he looked at them, with Kiki nodding her head yes. Can I bring Mr. Fluff? Naruto received another nod, smiling as he ran to his room. Just as Taro was about to say something, they heard Naruto shouting from above. This place is huge. Kiki chuckled as Taro just shook his head. So who is Mr. Fluff anyway? Taro said in a dull voice, much calmer from his angry one. It's his fox plushie, and I got a feeling it related to why this village civilian treated him so badly. Kiki said as she kept her ears open to make sure that Naruto wasn't hearing anything that they would be talking from this point on, Taro as well, though perhaps for very different reasons. Taro's voice changed once again from the dull tone of voice to one brimming with girlish joy. OMG. That must be so adorable. I'll make sure the others doesn't try to rip it to shreds, Taro said joyfully, acting radically different to how he did not seconds ago. And no, it was not some extreme form of bipolarism. Though in a sense it is indeed that. For Taro, being a mix of a Rathlos and a devil hound aka Cerberus, makes his existence a bit challenging for him since his personality changes when certain things are spoken. For example, when talking to him about something cute he would switch to a joyful personality, also adopting a gal-like voice and persona at the time. When talking to him normally he switched into having a dull tone of voice as well as becoming lethargic, wanting to lay around and such. The one thing that should not be done is to make him angry, as doing so would let his meaner self be out for quite some time. The only time it is okay to do so, if he's facing an enemy, as he will target them and stop at nothing till he get his target. Of course, he wouldn't become a berserker. If, for instance, he was facing a hostage situation, Taro is still capable of assessing the situation, and would incapacitate the enemy before they could do any harm to the hostage. Before the two could talk even more, the two's ears perked up as they could hear the thudding of feet coming down the stairs. Naruto came back, with his fox plushie in hands, as well a clean set of clothes, an orange shorts and a white t-shirt with the Uzumaki swirls on it. Taro gave a silent, but girlish scream in his head at how adorable it is. I'm ready! Naruto shouted, his voice cracking at the end as Kiki and Taro nodded at each other before reverse summoning themselves back to the demonic lands with Naruto in tow. Chapter 3, CH3. The Summoning World. In the Summoning World, all the summoned animals and creatures roam around freely. Well, mostly. Most of them have a place where most of the same kind of summons live in, like the toad summons living in the mountainous lake area, or the snake summons living near caves and tall grass. Some of the summons, though, don't live like the other, as they live a nomadic life, traveling around till they find a good spot to live for a time before moving on and repeating the process. A small few, however, prefer to live someplace where the other summons can't get to and bother them. It is in such a place where we find our young hero, a place where, everywhere you see, is covered by fire, and what vegetation that could be found were either dead and withered or is currently on fire. Lakes of molten lava with bubbling magma makes the place inordinately dangerous. As Naruto took all these things in, one thing came to mind. It's so hot here, the young boy shouted as he was riding on the shoulder of his mom's muscular arms, rapidly fanning himself and his plushie. Kiki patted Naruto's head as they walked up to the village. It's okay, sweet bat, once we're in the village, you can take a nice cold swim in the pool. That's only if Kratos didn't ink the pool again, Taro said in a joyful but annoyed voice. If you are wondering why they were walking along the shores of land between bubbling lava instead of teleporting directly into the village, then there was no particular reason. Kiki simply wanted them to walk to the demonic village, so Naruto could see just how beautiful the demon's homeland is. Who's Kratos, Mr. Taro? Naruto asked curiously as he looked behind him at the devil-wyvern mix. Well, young Naruto, Kratos is a sea monster known as the Kraken, and Taro was then interrupted by Kiki as she laughed a bit. Don't you mean a sea chicken? Hee, I crack myself up sometimes, Kiki laughed as Naruto looked between the two, confused. Ignore that last comment, young Naruto, they both tend to have a go at each other, ever since Kiki told Kratos that Krakens are related to chicken, because their names sound the same. Taro said with a sigh at his friend's antics, as Naruto giggled at the silly joke. The trio walked slowly, with Kiki telling jokes about the inhabitants of the village, while Taro had to correct her time and time again, but soon, they reached the demonic village. And Naruto had to admit, it was nothing like he had pictured when he had first heard they were going to a village filled with various demons. While the surroundings were exactly what Naruto expected a picture of hell looked like, with all the lava, heat and fire, the village looked nothing like he imagined. Naruto imagined demons dancing around a ring of fire, and burning the souls of the sinners, to see many torture devices all over the place. But instead, it just looked like a normal village, if with unique-looking individuals walking around. Naruto could see demons, monsters, and yokai walking around the roads, and buildings that looked more advanced than the buildings he sees in Konoha. Heck, there were even pools of water and lakes around the village too, clashing terribly with hellish vistas just outside the borders of the village. All in all, it was weird. This wasn't what I thought a village filled with demons would look like. Naruto murmured as he saw a couple of demons waving at the trio, with one of the monsters saying just how cute Naruto is. Well, not every place is what you expected, young one. An unfamiliar voice said as Naruto spotted the speaker along with Kiki and Taro. And it spoke of just how shocked Naruto was that he missed the guy. In front of them was an 14-foot-tall Oni yokai with gray skin with black strips running along it. The Oni also looked ancient. Wearing a robe that covered his whole body, the Oni was holding a spiked club that he was using more like a cane than the weapon it was supposed to be. Attracting Naruto's eyes, however, were the Oni's strange gray-pink hair, with a single gold horn on his head. By the look of him, Naruto could tell that the Oni was very old, probably even older than the Hokage. And he was the oldest person Naruto knows. Naruto, looking at the old Oni, had only one thing to say as he had to crane his neck to look at the Oni's face. Big. Naruto then hid behind Kiki's hair, peeking a few times at the old Oni. The old Oni chuckled seeing Naruto's action, as almost all children have the same reaction when they first see him, although he was expecting him to say other things, but he was okay with that. They have plenty of time to be acquainted, after all. I see that you found him, Kiki. But what in the king's name took you so long? The Oni half shouted as he gripped his cane club tighter. Kiki placing Naruto on Taro's shoulder, much to his annoyance and joy, as she then started explaining herself. Well, you see, we only got back from the orphanage very late, and it didn't take long for Naruto to fall asleep. So I couldn't bring him here and have him freak out and get scared. So, I brought him to the compound first and… Bonk! Like a flash, the elder Oni's cane struck Kiki's head. Ow! Kiki shouted as she rubbed her head. At least you could have called someone here, so they could report in. The village almost started gearing for war, you idiot! The Oni shouted as he tapped his feet, vexed at Kiki's attitude. Back when I was your age. Oh, here we go again, Taro complained as the elder started complaining at how lazy the young ones are, a story he, Kiki, and anyone their age had heard him told so many times. I would always report in on my finding, either if it's just finding food, land to take, or even a particularly large bug, I always report it in or send someone to report it. If we didn't do this, there would disorder, and blah blah blah. Naruto blinked a few times, picking the insides of his ears, making sure he was hearing right. Is it me, or am I hearing a lot of bloss? The young boy said, confused, as continued to pick his ear, wondering if some ear boogers are making his ears hear weirdly. Yup, it is. Lecture about the old days jutsu. After telling the same story for 2,000 years, it has transformed into a genjutsu attack that would make anyone younger than the old man fall asleep, or feel like they're being bored to death. Taro explained in a dull voice, inured to the attack, only to hear snoring in response. Turning to his charge, he could see Naruto bobbing his head and his shoulder, asleep. Yeah, like that. Talking to himself, Taro would have chuckled at the sight, but he was too lazy to do so. Kiki was starting to fall asleep as well, even with the headache caused by the elder's attack. In fact, anyone that was close by were also starting to feel drowsy, as the old Oni continued to talk. Blah 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 blah, and that is why you must always report your findings. The old Oni finished talking, only to see Kiki starting to nod off. Incensed, he raised his club again and struck Kiki's head, harder this time. Yuch! Were you paying attention? The old Oni shouted as everyone, including Naruto, jumped from the shouting as it woke them all up. Yes, yes. I'll make sure to remember to report in the next time. Sheesh, Elder Rizzo, did you have to hit my head so hard? Kiki half shouted as she rubbed her head with a few tears in her eyes. The now named Elder Rizzo nodded his head, satisfied by Kiki's answer, as he pointed his club at her. Yes, and I'll keep doing it every time you fall asleep at my lectures. Elder Rizzo said with a chuckle as Kiki pouted at him. You know you had me worried since you haven't reported in the last 5 months. Sorry, Grandpa, you know how serious I get on my search. I lost track of time, I'm sorry. Kiki spoke as she bowed in apology to her grandfather. Naruto could feel his jaw dropping as his head turned back and forth between Kiki and the elder. Not finding the resemblance at all, Naruto could only turn to Taro in surprise as Kiki and her grandfather began talking. That's her grandpa. Naruto said in shock, as Taro nodded, the other two oblivious to Naruto's shock as they reminisce about the past. I know I remember when you were young, you lost your club and turning the whole village upside down just to find it. Elder Rizzo laughed at the memory of the much younger Kiki's antics. Kiki puffed up her cheek, crossing her arms, making her breasts look a bit bigger. Hey! How was I supposed to know that Mom and Dad went to get it polished? I was only 5 years old. The reply earned a laugh from Rizzo as she puffed her cheeks more angrily. Naruto could only laugh at seeing his mom acting so childish. Haha, great-grandpa is so silly. Rizzo froze at hearing Naruto addressing him as great-grandpa, as if the world had stood still. Then, as if to make up for lost time, time seemed to fast forward, as in a flash of speed, Naruto went from Taro's shoulder into the elder's hands. Indeed, young Naruto. I'm your great-grandpa. Rizzo shouted as he spun Naruto around, each shouting, calling Naruto his great-grandson, with Naruto joining in, calling Rizzo his great-grandpa happily. The sight was so heartwarming that a couple demon that were walking around the village stopped to take pictures of the cute scene. You have brought doom to the boy by adopting him, Kiki. I could easily see him being spoiled rotten to the core. Taro grumbled as he pinched the brows of his nose to stop the incoming migraine. Kiki patted her friend on the back, but after just tussling with the great Oni she had forgotten her strength, resulting in Taro to almost fall to the ground from the light tap. Yeah, but he deserved to be pampered now. Naruto had a rough life, and Rizzo always wanted to see a great grandchild before he died. And well, it would probably take that long before I have children of my own. Kiki smiled warmly, as she saw Rizzo giving Naruto a piggyback ride. Plus, who knows? He might live long enough to have 4 great-grandchild. Or even a great-great-grandchildren. Taro, now switching to his joyful side, clapped his hands together as a large smile bloomed on his face. So it's true. They really are meant to meet each other. He then rubbed his chin as he thought out loud. And knowing Rizzo, he might even show the picture, but who knows? Really? You just have to bring that up, didn't you? Kiki spoke with a depressed tone as she traced circles on the floor with her feet as thunderclouds hover over her head. Sorry, Kiki. The demonic council building. After Kiki recovered from her little bout of depression, Rizzo's back was starting to hurt. And so, a quick stop to the pool to cool down Naruto from the heat in the village, the group headed to the building where the council was being held. Naruto, being a bit nervous, hugged his plushie to try to calm down a bit. A hand was placed on his shoulder, jolting a bit as he hurried to look where the hand originated from, finding Taro, who was looking at Naruto, a tint of worry in his expression. Are you okay, kid? Naruto gave him a bit of a nod as an answer. You know it's going to be about you, and what we are going to do in the future. Taro spoke with a bit of surprise, as no one had told Naruto what the meeting was to be about. With the surprise in Taro's tone, Naruto now looked more nervous. Rizzo, seeing this, pulled out a candy from an unseen pocket in his robe and handed it over to Naruto. Eat this, it would calm you down, Rizzo said as he then whacked Taro on the head with his club cane. And you? I appreciate the help, but you are just making him more nervous as is, Rizzo said, with Taro hurriedly nodding, as he does not want to deal with Rizzo's angry side. Taro, rubbing his head, as he gave Rizzo an apologetic look. My bad, elder, you know how my sides can get. Indeed, now let's just get on with it. Entering a large building, the group hurried along the large corridors before they stopped before a large double-sided door. Entering the room, they were buffeted by the noise of people talking, but there were no shouting at all, which surprised Naruto. The times he had been summoned to his village's council, there were almost always shouting, mostly from the civilian council. Mostly about him, and mostly shouting about how he needed to be punished. Seeing that the council that he was about to join was also about him, he was expecting the same thing. Seeing the group's entrance, the talking soon quieted down, with the group finding their chair as the chatter mostly died down. Taro sat next to Kiki, with Naruto sitting in his mom's lap, while Rizzo joined in with the other 6 elderly demons, that Naruto noted, were wearing the same robes as Elder Rizzo did. On the far right of Rizzo were 2 elderly-looking demons, with one looking surprisingly human. Naruto was not sure what one looked like as he was covered in a bit of mist as light blue lighting moved around him, with only his eyes, once colored a light purple, were visible. He also had a long swirling horn that gave off a soft glow to it, and long neat hair that could put the Hyuga's hair to shame. He was also sporting a bushy beard that covered his mouth. The one next to him was an elderly human-looking woman with silver hair and blood-colored eyes. Naruto at first thought that the lady was human, till he saw her smiling at him, showing her very long canine teeth. The far left side of Rizzo was occupied with familiar-looking demons. Both demons had long horns and pointy tails. Although the big difference was that the male demon elder had black and gray hair with his skin a dull red color with a bit of rust gold marking whose meaning Naruto can't really tell, and the same can be said about his eyes. While the female elder, while having the same black and gray hair, her skin was light purple-pink with sapphire markings, with her eyes having the same coloring and markings. The last 2 sitting in the elder seats, right next to Rizzo, were yokai. The one on the right was a somewhat old-looking lady with snow-white hair and very pale skin. Her eyes were an icy blue, with the pupil the shape of snowflakes, that if you look closely, were always changing shapes. On the left was also a somewhat elderly lady with 8 ruby-red eyes, and a second set of arms on her lower spider body. Her hair was a platinum blue in a set of a bun. Rizzo, clearing his throat, caused the rest to become silent. Thank you all for coming here, and it is with great pride that my granddaughter Kiki, who as well as others who were sent to search for any living Uzumaki, had finally come home. Rizzo then paused as the meeting chambers once again became noisy as many started whispering, and even some started talking loudly to each other, speculating on what this could mean. All of them, however, looked at the elder table with hopeful eyes at what Rizzo was talking about. And as many of you have guessed, she have indeed found what we all hoped for. She had found an Uzumaki. The council room was lit with roaring cheers as the demon's great allies and friends were found at long last. Naruto, seeing this, was feeling shy about that, as he never had this kind of reaction whenever someone spoke about him. He was tempted to brag on the many people in the leaf who hated him. Although they wouldn't even think of it, as they would think it was some lie. The elderly male demon stood up and cleared his voice, silencing the hall once again. As joyful as this is, we should let Rizzo continue, as I have a feeling there's more to this, he said as many began whispering about it once again. Rizzo nodded in thanks before he continues. Indeed, thank you for keeping the peace, Lalish. The elder demon named Lalish nodded his head in response as he sat back down. In her report, it seemed that the child was placed in an orphanage where a buff man with a bull for a head slammed his hand on the table, interrupting Rizzo once again. What do you mean, he was found in an orphanage? The Uzumakis would never leave their offspring there. He shouted as raucous and anger-filled curses filled the chambers, saying that the Uzumaki would protect their young and would even kill anyone that tried to harm them on the spot. Rizzo stabbing his club cane in the ground, causing it to shake, as he gave off a wave of ki that silenced all of them, sweating in fear, remembering to never anger to one of the elders. If I may continue without interruption, it would be appreciated. He shouted as he looked at the room, and seeing Naruto shaking like a leaf, with Kiki giving him a hug and staring daggers at both Rizzo and the bull-headed man. The elder Oni coughed into his fist as a sweat drop appeared on his forehead, knowing that he was going to get an earful from his granddaughter after this. As I was saying, he was found in an orphanage, as his parents had died from the chakra beast, the nine-tailed fox, Kurama. The room started talking loudly once again as many of them, including one of the elder, had met the chakra beast. Being a battle-happy people, they had challenged the beast, and had found it to be as strong if not stronger than them, which had earned the beast their respect. But to hear Kurama, the most powerful but also the laziest of chakra beasts, to kill an Uzumaki, that was the worst thing to hear. A female yokai with a long neck, wearing a kimono dress, spoke up. But how can that be, Elder Rizzo? Don't the chakra beasts wish to be left alone? Kurama most of all? Hearing this, many of them agree with her, as a chakra beast fighting, let alone killing someone, was unusual for them. I couldn't agree with you more, Miss May. In Kiki's report, she believed that something about that day was kept secret. A secret that was unfortunately leaked into the village. This got many of the demons confused, as Rizzo then looked at Naruto with a smile on his face. Young Naruto, can you come here if you please? All the demon attention was focused on Naruto, most not even noticing Naruto until now, even when he had entered the council room with Rizzo and Kiki. Naruto looked like a deer in the headlights, shaking like a leaf as he hugged his fox plushie tight. All the female demons in the room thought that Naruto was adorable, though their interested look only scared Naruto even more. Naruto had to collect all the courage he had in him to walk to where his great-grandpa is. The bull-headed man that shouted before, stared at Naruto before laughing out loud. It has been a long time seeing a child, let alone an Uzumaki, shake like that. Ha ha. A woman with cow ears and small cow horns, wearing a kimono that was very tight, making her G-cup breast look even bigger, red sweatpants and yellow high heels with white hair dotted with yellow spots, gave the bull a punch in the arm, resulting in him flying to the wall of the room. Hector! You shouldn't pick on a child, or do you want to sleep on the couch again? Hector the bull man slid down the wall slowly, giving out a weak wheeze. Sorry dear. He was then knocked out as a pale cartoon bull floated out of his mouth. Naruto gave out a giggle, with everyone in the room smiling, seeing that helped Naruto calm down a bit more, joining in where Rizzo is. Thank you, Miss Nana, and please no violence in here. We don't want a repeat of Mark and Shio now, do we? Nana, the whole store, shook her head as she then sat down. Seeing this, Rizzo started talking again. Now then, Naruto, can you tell us what most of the village have done to you? And there's no need to worry that we'll destroy your village or something. We know that not all of them were ever mean to you, child. Thanks to Kiki's report with him, what does it say here? Rizzo lifted the report closer, but not seeing it any clearer, he pulled out his glasses, which made his eyes look ridiculously big, which made Naruto laugh. Miss Talia correct? Both Naruto and Kiki nodded their head, as Rizzo then put his glasses away. Well, you see, Naruto, slowly, started speaking, and not even one sentence later, Elder Rizzo had to pull out his club again, as waves of killing intent spilled out of the demons in the meeting room. One explanation, and many reprimands later. To say that the demons were angry was like saying the ocean is wet. Cries of war and just how the demons would rip the adults that had mistreated Naruto to shred, their bones littering the streets, and using their head as bowling balls, and many other gory ends, was numerous. For what they did to Naruto was outright wrong. Rizzo, who was silent throughout Naruto's explanation, and had been keeping the rest of the demons in check, and to allow Naruto to speak, was holding himself back just to not leave and level the whole village flat. He would do much worse to those he cares about, for doing that to his adopted great-grandson? His rage was almost out of his control, but now was not the time I see, and what is the reason they have done this to you, child? Naruto, holding his plushie, forced out the words the villagers would shout at him as they would beat him up. Because I was born the day that the Kyuubi had attacked, he said with tears in his eyes, as all the emotion he had in him was let out. The room erupted with rage as everyone was shouting and yelling, how dare the humans hurt an Uzumaki, one so young at that. They can't get away from this. We should behead those fucking piece of shit. Why behead them, when we can burn them to death? And freeze them to the core? Agree, but let's make sure the children are not to be hurt, since it would be these adults that taught them to do that. As more and more of them shouted, a cold yet electrifying ki filled the air as the male elder monster body was covered in ice and sparks, shutting the room up. As much as I like to do that to those up-jumped ape, we have to remember that this is Naruto's home village, and we would be doing harm to him than good, he said in a controlled voice, as he held more wisdom than anyone in both the summoning and the ninja world. Needless to say, the atmosphere in the room chilled down from its previous righteous fervor, with the demons hanging their heads, ashamed that they had let their emotions out of control, forgetting Naruto's feeling on the matter. Speaking of Naruto, they saw him being held by said elder, Naruto unaffected by his ki, as he was busy playing with his beard, giggling. Rizzo looking at this with a smile, but wish it was him instead that Naruto was playing with instead of his friend. That's quite right, Rin. We can't raze that village to the ground, as I'm sure that Naruto still wants to be a ninja of that village, Rizzo said as he saw Naruto nodding his head. He then turned his head to Kiki, who also gravely nodded. Now Kiki, this was one of the reasons why you believe what you reported, yes? Kiki nodded as she got up and walked to the elder, turning around to face the room. Yes, as Naruto said, they believe that he is Kurama's reincarnation, but we know the beasts cannot be killed. But they can be sealed, Kiki said as the rest of the room all connected the dots of what she mean, gasping in shock. Kiki, you don't mean that, Rizzo said, as Naruto now realized it too. Yes, I believe that. Kiki walked up to Naruto, pulling his shirt up, displaying Naruto's abdomen, channeling a wisp of chakra, revealing the seal sealing the nine-tailed fox in it. Naruto is the jailer for Kurama. 52. Chapter 4, Ch4. Naruto, hearing what Kiki had said, felt as if his world has been turned upside down. Even when compared to the demons in the room, he was the one shocked most of all by the reveal of the seal containing the nine-tailed demon fox, the Kyuubi. He had finally learned the reason why the villagers hated him, why they would glare at him and call him a demon, why the villagers, any chance they got, which is a lot, would beat him black and blue. He had the nine-tail inside of him. Unable to bear the shock, he blacked out, collapsing forward, his plushie falling from boneless hands, the sound of his adopted mother screaming out his name, the last thing he heard as everything turned to black. Naruto. Unknown location. Drip, drip, drip. The sound of dripping water welcomed Naruto as he returned to consciousness, though even with his eyes opened, he has no idea where he had found himself in. Looking around at the bare concrete walls, the dripping pipes above him, alongside the knee-high water, he could only conclude that he was in a sewer, somehow. Standing up and looking ahead and behind him, he could only see inky blackness that seemed endless. Okay, this is freaky. With nothing else to do and with no idea where he is, Naruto simply picked a direction and started walking. It felt like had walked a long time, but he wasn't feeling tired for some strange reason, but without nothing else to do he just kept walking, until he finally spotted something different. It was a huge gate of iron, so large that Naruto couldn't see the top, where each gap is large enough that Naruto could simply walk in. And where the gate joined in, Naruto could see a seal of some kind. Wonder what's behind there. Naruto walked closer, trying to see what's behind the gate, as it was shrouded with the same inky darkness. Till a bright crimson eye opened up, appearing uncomfortably close to Naruto. Yourself. A gruff, loud complaint as each syllable spoken felt like a hurricane, causing Naruto to fall onto his back. Who are you? Naruto shouted, trying to hide the fear in his voice. Who am I? Who am I? The being beyond the cage shouted in rage as it stepped closer to the cage, allowing Naruto to finally see what's behind the gate. The creature was 10 times bigger than Naruto, with 9 large tails swinging behind the creature. Even if he had never seen the creature before, Naruto could tell that this creature was nothing else than the nine-tailed fox who is now baring its sharp teeth at the child. I am the great Kyuubi. Fear incarnate, destroyer of mountains, and demon of all. Don't you mean chakra beast? Naruto interrupted the Kyuubi as it was grandstanding. Kurama could only stare at the boy, annoyed at his introduction being interrupted, as it then fell flat on its belly, grumbling. Way to ruin my grand entrance, kid. It said in a voice that sounded both feminine and masculine. Took me 5 years to come up with it, and you just have to kill it. Naruto let out a gasp. I didn't mean to, Mr. Fox Chakra, I was just pointing it out, is all. Naruto hurriedly explained himself, before he returned to his previous train of thought. Wait, you're the Kyuubi! Naruto exclaimed, pointing at Kurama. Kurama could only huff at the kid, as it was certain the kid was going to do the same thing his mom did when she first met them. Here comes the blame, for ruining his life and wanting to make sure I stay locked in him forever, blah blah blah, Kurama grumbly thought, as it just wanted nothing more than to have a nice relaxing life, just looking at clouds and sleeping all day. You're the reason the villagers hated me, but also for giving me my new family. So thank you? Naruto said, looking at his feelings and finding that he held no grudge against the fox. Kurama lifted their head, looking at Naruto with a shocked look on his face, shocked by the gratitude from someone that was supposed to hate him. I see, well, if that's what you want, kid, I was enjoying my nap till you woke me up. Kurama said as it laid their head down on their arm, its tails laid flat against its body. The young boy, seeing the fox content to ignore him, began to rub his head in awkwardness, chuckling awkwardly, unsure on what to do next. Well, you see, I kinda fainted from finding out about you, Mr. Fox Chakra, and… Kurama. Bless you. That wasn't a sneeze, brat. That my name is Kurama, you better remember it, calling me the Kyuubi is like me calling you a hairless ape. Kurama grumbled, mumbling stinking brat to himself under his breath. Right, well, I was just told by my mom that I was a jailer or something. And to be honest, I didn't believe that she had told me everything. Well, I kinda passed out after that, and now here I am in the sewer with you and I have no idea how to get out and get back. Kurama looked at Naruto like he was an idiot, pinching the bridge of their nose in frustration. Kami, he's an idiot. You do realize that I'm in you, right? They said, as Naruto nodded his head. He had overheard ninjas talking about storage seals before, and Mom did say that the Kurama was sealed inside him. And you understand that there's no way for us to meet in person, unless I was unsealed, right? Nodding again, this time Naruto looked a bit confused, unsure of where Kurama was leading the conversation towards. And since the last thing you remembered was fainting, where do you think we are then? In your mind, kid. We're in your mind. Well, the mental representation of the seal, but it's basically the same thing. Sheesh, kid, for an Uzumaki, I expected you to put it together faster than that. But then again, you Uzumaki kids usually have a weird way of understanding seals, like using concepts like food, anime, and there's even one guy that likens seals to fishes of all things. What's an anime? Naruto, hearing the unfamiliar word, tilted his head in a cute manner, confused. Kurama resisted the impulse to scream at the boy, but held himself back since it would be rare for anyone outside of Uzushiogakure to know of the creations of the Uzumaki. Mangas, video games, and anime as well, were very advanced technologies. Kurama had the chance to see some of them from his old jailers. You know what, kid, I'll talk to you later since I'm sure your stepmom is waiting for you, so YET. Kurama shouted the last part, his voice a soundwave as it blasted Naruto backwards, and out of his own mindscape. In the demonic village. Naruto jolted up awake. As he looked at his surrounding, he saw that he was in an unfamiliar room. It was painted yellow-green grass with a few animal figures painted. There were also a few posters on the wall of a girl in a weird dress, and a black cat next to her with a crescent moon on its head. Looking downwards, he noticed that he was on a bed, with a blanket printed with some odd yellow creature on the covers with some other weirdly colored animals. All in all, he had no idea where he is. Where the hell am I? Naruto spoke as he got off the bed, and walked to the door leading outside. As he was about to open it, however, the door opened on its own, revealing a girl that was around his age. Her hair was black with 2 little nubs of small horns on the side of her head, her eyes were a hazel green color, and her face was a bit round, with freckles covering her cheeks. She wore a sundress that reached her shin and some sort of black pants below that. They both looked at each other in silence for a minute before Naruto blushed a bit at seeing how cute she is and was caught staring. The girl, still looking at him, shocked, then turned her head around back behind the door, shouting, Mama! Auntie Kiki! There's a weird boy in my room. Can I keep him? Such a strange remark made Naruto blush red at hearing it. No, Cynthia! You can't keep him, and please stay quiet, he needs his rest. An unfamiliar voice shouted back, as Naruto was confused. If the other woman wanted Naruto to sleep, then isn't shouting the wrong thing to do? But he's already awake, and is right in front of me. Cynthia shouted back as she turned around, leaning by the door, inadvertently showing off a long black and white tail, with a puff of black hair at the end of it. There was silence for a few seconds, before a rushing sound of feet pounding was heard, as Kiki's familiar figure slid in front of the door. Before almost bowling over Cynthia in her rush to hug Naruto, engulfing him in between her large breasts. Oh, my little boy! I was so worried when you just fainted," she shouted, though the noise was muffled by her breasts as Naruto was trying to wiggle his way out. Other boys might enjoy the feeling, but the only thing rushing in Naruto's head was how he couldn't breathe. "Not like this. Not like this." Naruto's voice was muffled by the warm mass, his voice not reaching, and only making it so he wasted his air supply more. He struggled harder in response. He did not want to die right now. "Auntie, you're doing the same thing that you almost did to Uncle Taro," Cynthia said in an annoyed voice. Hearing this, Kiki looked downwards towards the now limp Naruto, whose face was slowly turning purple. "Oh my goodness!" Kiki hurriedly pushed Naruto out of her bosom, as he gasped loudly, breathing in the life-giving air. "I'm sorry, Naruto. I was so happy that I don't know how much I was tightly hugging you. I'd fine, Mom, but maybe hold back on that. I saw my life flash before my eyes," Naruto said in between gasps, still taking in the much-needed air. "How did it go?" Cynthia asked, curious, as Naruto gave her the stink eye, annoyed that she didn't help him much earlier, which resulted only in her giggling. "You don't want to know," he said irritably, and he would say that were the reason his face was so red, as Naruto took another look at the room to distract himself. "So is this your brother's or sister's house or something, because I didn't know I had a cousin?" Naruto said, although he can't get that weird feeling that caused him to blush, to stop. "Oh no, this isn't their house. They are traveling at the moment, still looking for more Uzumakis," Kiki said with a bit of a giggle on Naruto's surprised face. "Then whose house is this?" "Mine, of course." The female voice that had responded to Cynthia sounded just by the door. Naruto turned, to see over Kiki's shoulder, Nana standing by the doorway smiling, as she had a wide serving tray placed on top of her breast, her cow tail wagging behind her. "You gave everyone at the meeting quite the scare there, child. We had to cut the meeting short, letting you rest here." Her piece finished, she began walking over towards Naruto, with each step causing her breasts to sway hypnotically. Naruto had to fight down his blush, seeing them up close have a very hypnotic effect on him. "TT, they're so big," he thought as he could have swore that it was growing bigger every time his eyes were dragged towards them. Once Nana was close, she gave him a gentle hug, causing him to sink between her breasts, swallowing his head entirely, though this time it was like quicksand as his head just kept sinking. Soon enough, he was being asphyxiated once again, as darkness seems to crawl from the edge of his eyes. "Mama, you got him stuck in your breasts like you always do to the kids," Cynthia shouted as Naruto was swallowed entirely, body and all, into Nana's breasts, causing Nana to freak out, the tray she was carrying quickly forgotten. "Oh my, not again." She then started to pull out things randomly from between her breasts, searching for Naruto. Soon, random things like Rio coins, snack bags, soft drink, sake, extra clothes of all size, even a kitchen sink was pulled out, but no Naruto. "Ooh, Kiki, Cynthia, can you help me? It seems that he's really in there deep." Nana panicked even more as both Kiki and Cynthia began pulling out things as well. Finally, after some long minutes, Cynthia managed to pull out Naruto, who was blushing up a storm. "Found him, Mama. Can I keep him? I promise that to take care of him, and have lots of kids when we're adults," Cynthia said as he hugged Naruto, whose face turned to a new level of red. Nana gave her daughter a playful look, as she flicked her daughter's forehead. "You can't keep him, Cynthia. I swear Maggie's mom is a bad influence on you." Cynthia pouted as tears welled up in her eyes. "But you can be friend with him though, sweetie." Nana giggled, seeing her daughter smiling happily, as she hugged the embarrassed Naruto. "Oh, I will, Mama. I'll be the best wife ever for him." Cynthia laughed as Naruto freaked out hearing the out-of-nowhere response. Wait, what?" Naruto said with panic in his voice. "Hee, as much as I want to talk about ideas for Naruto's future bride, we should go to the dining table. I'm pretty sure Naruto's stomach is about to have a revolt." As if on cue, Naruto's stomach let out a growl, making the three ladies to laugh with Naruto blushing with embarrassment once again. Soon the four walked to the kitchen, with Naruto being dragged, as Cynthia was not planning on letting her future husband go, just like Maggie's mom told her to do. Naruto, on the other hand, despite his embarrassment, found the thought of Cynthia being with him not at all displeasing. In fact, he found that he was surprisingly okay with that. It's still very embarrassing though. After dinner, and a goodbye to Hana and Cynthia, Kiki and Naruto headed home, with some demons around to see them off. Although, before they could leave, Naruto noticed Hector, who was hugging Hana, and Cynthia were also there, carrying some things with them. "Well, it's time for you all to return, since I'm sure the one that care about you are wondering where you're at," Rizzo said as he was a bit sad to see them off. "Don't worry, great-grandpa. I'll come to visit you and everyone here too. And you can all come visit me whenever you like," Naruto excitedly exclaimed, putting a smile on Rizzo's and everyone's faces, glad that the Uzumaki child was so excitable and happy despite his horrid past. "Then it's a good thing I brought this along." Rin, who surprised Naruto when he started speaking, Naruto, not noticing he was also in the group, spoke out as he pulled out a big scroll from somewhere. What that? Naruto was surprised seeing the big scroll appearing out of nowhere. This here is our summoning scroll contract. It will let you summon us into battle, or if you want to hang out, Kami knows that's what we're usually summoned for. The female spider elder said with a sigh as Rin unrolled the large scroll, showing lines of past summoners, all Uzumaki, along with the day and year their contract was signed. Whoa! This is so cool! Naruto screamed in excitement as Naruto spotted a familiar name, the last person to sign the summoning scroll, Mito Uzumaki, the first Hokage's wife. Naruto remembered the name from the history lessons he had. Even though he hated the lesson, or more like he hated the teacher, the old caretaker of his orphanage, he remembered being so excited seeing someone sharing his last name. Indeed, young Uzumaki, you have come for a long line of great people, and warrior. Elder Lalish spoke, as he took the unrolled scroll and put it in front of Naruto. Not to mention great prankster. One of the elders slyly added, causing Elder Rizzo to look at the elder with a side eye for interrupting, before he continued. That I'm sure, no matter what path you choose, they will be proud of you. Now you may sign the contract in blood, by putting your hand on the scroll. Your name, and the date for the signing, would be enshrined for the next generation of Uzumaki to see. Lalish said, as Naruto bit his thumb and did what he was told. And with a flash of kanji and seals, his name was added next to Mito Uzumaki's name. Naruto Uzumaki, the next summoner of the demonic clans. In the Uzumaki compound. After a last celebration and cheers, Naruto handed over the contract back to the elders for safekeeping, since it would be better to have it someplace more protected than have it with him. Although one thing was still on his mind. It was so big. He wondered why both Nana and Cynthia were with them back in Konoha, at the Uzumaki compound. That's what Naruto said before he went to change. Kiki said in her human form, a bit uncomfortable by the stifling feeling, since she was in her yukai form for very long. But she knows that it would bring trouble to stay in her demonic form out in the human world. I can see why is that, this place felt bigger the last time I was here. Nana said, as she too has taken a human form, although she looked pretty much the same. Just without the horns, tail, ears and huge breast. Well, the last part is still huge by human standards, as she only decreased it until she have E-cup breasts. She wore a battle kimono, with ninja pants and sandals. You were here before Mama? Cynthia said, adopting the same method of disguise as her mother, as she still looked the same, but without her inhuman features. Nana nodded her head in response. Yes, it was when I was your age when I visited. Back then, the compound was so filled with people that you could have sworn that we were at the beach. Nana then giggled at her daughter, who was doing a good imitation of a fish. Naruto looked at the two's antics before he sidled next to his mother, pulling at her dress before he tiptoed to reach his mother's ears as he whispered. How come Miss Cow Lady and Cynthia-chan came with us, Mama? You see Naruto, since Cynthia wanted to be with you and wouldn't want to leave your side, Nana agreed to come along since Cynthia needed someone to look after her, and Hector have to be in the demon's village to guard it in case any intruder appear. But isn't the village already? Kiki put her finger on Naruto's lips. He is very caring of his family, and would do anything for their happiness. Kiki said before thinking and adding. Not to mention, he doesn't have a human form yet. So don't question his choice, my little pranking devil. Kiki smiled as she rubbed Naruto's head. Before Naruto could reply, Cynthia ran over to Naruto and hugged his arm and started pulling. Come on, Naruto-kun. Mama is going to show us everything about this place, Cynthia said excitedly, before she decided that Naruto wasn't moving fast enough, so she lifted the boy bridal style before running to her mom. All while Naruto was blushing up a storm from an embarrassment. Chapter 5 Ch 5. 3 weeks later. It was bright and early in Konoha, as a few people have been walking about, enjoying the nice autumn weather without any worry at less for the moment till explosion was heard, and lot of shouting. Get thought, brat. A male shinobi said as he along with a handful of other ninjas were covered from head to toe in tar, chasing 2 5-year-old children. Ha ha! The children laughed as it was none other than Naruto and Cynthia who was outrunning them. I can't believe they fell for the buy 8, get 20 free adult book trick. Ha ha! Cynthia said as their plan was a success, as Naruto nodded his head. Ever since Naruto and Cynthia the day they meet, they became the beast friend fast, with both of them becoming inseparable. Some of demonic back in the summoning world would always see them together all the time, when they are there or when they visit. When the villager of the leaf first noticed this, they tried to get Cynthia away from the boy and tell her that he was a troublemaker, but that resulted in her punching the guy in the nuts, and throwing a stink bomb at them. Naruto laughed at that as Cynthia taught him the art of pranking, and ever since then they were known as the pranking teams, as they weren't the only one that loved to prank them. Cynthia pulling out a walk-talk and spoke into it. We're close to the meeting point, is everything ready, Viper Bird? There was static for a bit before a girl voice was heard. "This is Viper Bird, letting you know that the weapon is in place, over." "Good, because we got the package ready for you, over," she said as a shy boy voice was then heard. "Hey, are you sure they will fall for it, Orange Milk Tea Team? Tea, they are ninja after all," the boy said before the girl voice spoke again. "I'm sure they will. After all, if they fall for some smut, they will be easy to hit." "She have a point there, bird boy," Cynthia said as they turned a few corners. "We're almost there anyway, so ready the weapon." "I/AI," the two voice said as the connection ended. Cynthia looked at Naruto, who was smiling at her. "I take it Robin was still hesitating again, huh?" he said as he was given a nod. "Yeah, but he is new to this since his family designed to move in with us, and he not too used to being in his human form yet," Cynthia said, remembering seeing the two at their home last week. "Still can't believe they're twins, I mean they're nothing alike," Naruto said, still trying to wrap his head on that. The ninjas who was still on their tails as they been too distracted and was too far to even hear them talk. Soon both Cynthia and Naruto reached their location, which was a dead-end street with them screeching to a halt. The ninja now had them cornered, as the ninja that was leading them then said, "He look like your days are over, brats. Any last word before we beat you up, boy?" he said as he and the group was going to beat Naruto up, as they would take Cynthia somewhere safe. "First off, this is my idea, not Naruto-kun, and second, you are not touching him, and third, drop the weapon," she said as she and Naruto throw smoke bomb on the ground as they reversed summoning themselves for a bit. "Wait, what?" the leader said as he and the group soon felt something landed on them, in which he looked at what fell on him before. He soon turned pale as a ghost, as he and his group was covered in magazines. Magazines that had buff men's in speedos, thick eyes, brows, and the same higher style of mighty guy. They scram as they tried to remove the paper, but they couldn't as more paper keep on falling on them. Up on the roof we see two other kid that were the same age as Naruto and Cynthia. The first, who was laughing on the floor, was a girl who had pink long hair, with these shape hair clips, as her clothes was a purple t-shirt that had a picture of a snake, and wears a long skirt that go up to her shin. Next to her was a boy with purple-white short hair, that had a cow lick on top of his head. The clothes he was wearing was a blue shirt, and black short. The most interesting thing about them was they both have silver-red eyes. These two are the twins known as Robin and Kana. Friend to Naruto and Cynthia, and one of the many teams that formed the pranking squads. As Kana still laughing and Robin trying to calm his sister laughing, both Naruto and Cynthia appear before them, as they look down below and started laughing at what they're seeing. "Ha! It is a success, now let's get going before they see us," Cynthia said as the three nod their heads and was about to head home. "And where do you think you four are going?" The four kids stop in their tracks as they all turn around to see Kiki, tapping her feet with an angry, but also playful look. They stare at her for a minute before Naruto, Cynthia, and Kana shouted, "Every kid's for themselves," and tried to scatter out of there, but was caught easy. Robin was the only one that didn't run, since he can't run much, so he was easy to capture. Kiki hold all four of the kid from the back of their shirt. "You know the rule, kids. You want to be great ninja," she said as the four said in unison. "Never get caught by the enemy," they said with Kana pouting, Robin poking his finder, and Naruto and Cynthia smiling. "That right, and lucky for you." Kiki pull out some women clothes and underwear out of nowhere. "I'm not an enemy," she said as she put the children down, and went to the edge and tossed it down on the victim. "What the? Kaya! Perverts, they're pervert here, and they stolen my clothes," a female shinobi with double D-sized breasts shouted, as she had dark purple long hair with these shaped hair clips. Her eyes were golden yellow, as the clothes she wore was a midnight purple battle kimono, and ninja pants. She also had the leaf headband wrap around her head. Soon a lot of women ninja appear and started to beat the living hell out of them, as the girl that shouted went to the roof without being seen. "Haha, now that is a proper prank's punishment, since those were a bunch of perverts right there," she said as both Kana and Robin went and gave her a hug. "Mommy/mama," the twins said as the lady that they are hugging was indeed their mom. "Haha, indeed, and you timed that perfectly," Medusa-chan, Kiki said as Medusa rubbed her nose with her finger as she smirked. "Hee well yeah, when you put it that way, Kihimi. Don't I deserve a little smooch?" she said, as Kiki whacked her on the head. "I'm not falling for that trick like when we were teen perverted snake for brain," she said in an annoying tone. "Aw, come on, you know, we had a thing going. Plus Rachel wouldn't mind it, since she into that stuff." "No is no, beside." Kiki then pointed at the kids, who was covering their eyes. "I don't want them losing the innocence mind from them seeing us do that," she said in a threatening way. "You know you look hot when you threaten me." That earned Medusa another whack on the head. Okay. We'll do it later, and maybe get Taro in on it, he seemed to need it, from all he'd been doing." "That will be a maybe, but for now let's head to the Hokage Tower, since he would want to know how lazy some of those ninja are." Kiki said as Medusa nodded and grabbed a hold of her kids, while she grabbed a hold of her son and Cynthia. Okay, let move, she said as they both disappear in a swearing black mist. In the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen was massaging his head as he was face to face against his greatest enemy. Paperwork. This starting to get annoying. I mean, once I'm almost done, it suddenly get more bigger than it is, he said as he would rather do something else other than paperwork. As if his prayer has been answered, Medusa, Kiki, and the 4 prankers appear in front of him. Hey there Gigi, how it going? Naruto said with a smile on his face. Hiruzen silently cheered, as he wouldn't have to do more paperwork at the moment. I'm doing fine, Naruto. You not getting into trouble now, are you? He said, but see, Naruto gave him a fox smile. He signed at that since Naruto started to do pranks, he keep on getting paperwork on that. Why do I even bother? He then looked at Kiki and Medusa. What is it that they did now, Kiki? Oh, you know the usual, trying to see if any ninja could catch them this time, she said as she pulled out a badly drawn sign that said buy 8 get 20 adult rated book free, although it was quite entertaining, since most of the mail was the one that fell for it. She giggled as Medusa spoke next, while the kids were making a new plan on their other pranks. Indeed, and it got funnier when they dunked them in tar since they found a bunch of ball of them, haha. She laughed as Hiruzen's sweat dropped as he was planning on going if it wasn't for his assistant. Thank God I didn't go or they wouldn't let me hear the end of it, he thought as he continues listing. Oh, but that wasn't the best part. They lure them to a dead end, and once they were there they get covered in magazines for buff men in Speedos. Hiruzen paled at the thought of that. I'm really glad I wasn't there, he thought again, as Kiki then spoke. Oh, and what made it worse for them was that me and Medusa kinda wanted a bit of revenge, since one of the guy was trying to make me abandon my little pranking devil. Me and Medusa Desi dead to cover them in women clothes and Medusa screaming out perverts, and said they stolen her clothes, ha ha ha. The look on their faces was priceless, she said as she and Medusa laughed, not seeing that Hiruzen was white as a sheet. I'm really glad I didn't go, he said to himself. I see, well I'm sure they would learn their lesson and I'll see what I can do about that Jounin that you just mentioned, he said as he was very disappointed in his ninja. Cynthia then shouted out. This will be the perfect prank yet. Hiruzen heard as he see the kid nodding their head. Oh, and what is this perfect plan of yours? He asked as the prank team looked at him with a smile that made him worry. Oh, you'll see, soon, old man Kana said while laughing heavily, with Naruto and Cynthia joining in. This can't be good, he thought as they left his office, leaving him, Medusa, and Kiki alone. I'm guessing that this isn't just about my ninja being a bit lazy, now is it? He said as they nod their head, and he activated a private seal. Let hear it. Kiki nod, they turned into their Tur 4, with Kiki in her Oni form, and Medusa in her Lamia. Medusa Lamia form was the same as her human form, but the only thing is that her purple hairs was now wild-like as if it was alive. Her human legs was replaced by a purple snake tail, as the under part of her snake body was a milky cream skin. Her D-shaped hair clips grown a bit more bigger, as they were big as her eyes. Speaking of her eyes, she had them close before Kiki gave her special glasses. You can't see into her eyes. Medusa is one of the rarely few Lamia who can turn people to stone with just looking at them in the eye, and very rare with her saliva, which both are unaffected if it was used against her. Thanks, Kiki, it would be much harder to speak if I'm not looking at Susumion, she spoke. No problem, and please try to minimize the use of your hissing. It's still annoying, you know, she said as Medusa had her head down. Hiruzen chuckled a bit as he remembered 3 weeks ago how he met the demonic summon that Naruto considered family. When Naruto wasn't found at his favorite ramen restaurant, he got a bit more worried that he used his all-seeing crystal ball to see where he was at. He was answered with nothing. Now more worry, he sent a search party thinking that Kiki was some enemy nin from the other villages. It took an whole hours with nothing to turn up. He was fearing the worst as he decided to head to his office to see if he could see if the crystal ball could help him once again. Once he got there, he heard laughter of Naruto, who was in his office with Kiki and 2 others that he did not know. To say the less, he gave Naruto a hug, as he was worried about him, and thought he was kidnapped. Kiki, with the help of the other women, know as Nana explains to him what happened, as well ask him to put a private seal for them to talk in secret. To say the less, he was shocked to find out that his grandson figure was adopted by a boss summoned from a clan that was killed in the Second Shinobi Wars. At first he didn't believe the 2 women and was going to call his Umbu to take them to TI, but once they turned into the true 4, he believed them. Although it did resulted in him and the male Umbu to faint from nose bleeding. After that he made it clear for the Umbu that this would be a SSS class secret, until with Naruto, or Kiki decision to reveal the truth to anyone they consider trustworthy. He was brought out of his thought hearing Medusa whining. It's not my fault that I got this tick from my old man, I'm just glad Kana Dosasan have it when Shesh in her true form, she said before looking at the ceiling. Hiruzen, did you have an extra Umbu? she said as Hiruzen shook his head. No, I always have the same number of umbu, why? Before he asked, Medusa used her tail, and slammed the hidden intruder to the floor before wrapping her tail around them. I think we got out self SSSSBY. She said as the intruder was I'm all black with a white mask that have the word N on it. Blast that Danzo. I thought I told him to disband that project. Hiruzen said in rage, as the Root Ninja tried to break free. Oh no you don't, Medusa said before removing the Root Ninja mask, lowering her glasses as her piercing gaze froze the ninja, as his body was then turned to stone. Well, so much for getting information, Hiruzen said, before hearing them chuckle. I don't see this quite funny, since I could have Danzo executed for treason. Kiki spoke up. Oh, we know Hokage, but if we let him be he would have killed himself if Medusa didn't, she said as she broke the stone root ninja jaw and showed Hiruzen a dead man pill. I see. It still would have been nice to get rid of him, he said as the two demonic nod their head. So what is it that you wanted to talk about? Well, it seemed the Uchiha are starting to act up, saying that they're not getting the respect they deserve, Kiki said as Medusa pulled out a scroll with their report in it. I see. Hiruzen read into it. If this does not change over time, I fear for the worst to come, he said as he wished for a better way. Medusa slapped her tail on the stone man, shattering him as she was pissed. Thos dumb copycats, don't they realize that they are appreciated, but it seemed to me that they want more, she said as she spit on the carpet, which turned to stone. Could you please not do that? I just got this one from your last rage fit, Hiruzen said as he doesn't want almost everything in his office to turn to stone. Sorry, I'll aim at the paperwork next time, just hope no one doesn't drop something heavy here, she said with a giggle fit. Hiruzen's sweat dropped at it, as he cleared his throat. Gee, good to know. Do you know what Naruto and his friend are planning? No idea, Kiki said as Medusa giggled. But I'm sure it going to be good. What make you say? Yee. Hiruzen jumped formed the sudden scram as he ran to see out the window. Oh, you have got to be kidding me, he said as he watched the chaos going on. Apparently half of the village was covered in neon color of orange, pink, green, blue, and purple, with a few silhouette of unfortunate victims. There was a few of the civilian council member running around in their underwear, as if they are searching for something. Probably their clothes. He thought as he see a few of the store with a 99% off of everything, and that wasn't the worst of it. What he saw next made him scream of fear as the stone face of the Hokages was painted with bold cuts and thick eyebrows. Jumping rhinos! I'm blind! He shouted as he fell over covering his eye at the sight, while Kiki and Medusa laughed their ass off, as they forced themselves to be in their human form and collapse on the floor. Ha ha ha, I have a feeling they would do that. Kiki laughed as she pounded the floor, make the stone carpet break, and the floor crack. Hishishis indeed. Just too bad that they didn't get to the Lord Hokage. The two disguised demonic looked to see a male umbu, wearing a hot pink maid outfit, as his face was covered in makeup that made him look like a clown. Someone had painted umbu HQ and replaced all the uniforms with maid girl outfit, as somehow have makeup on, the male umbu said, before both Kiki and Medusa laughed more sounding like hyenas. Look like the prank team have managed to do what they were told a while ago, in not getting caught. In the Uzumaki compound. Naruto, wake up. We're going to be late again, was what Naruto heard as he jumped 3 feet in the air, before falling out of bed. Huh? What? He got up and started changing. Crap, this is not good. I don't want hear Irika-sensei lecture us again, he said, taking off his pajamas. It have been 10 years since he got adopted, as well being the youngest boy to have a summoning contract, all in the same day. Naruto have grown to a fine young teenager. Most of his look didn't change as his hair was a bit longer, and he was about 5 feet 6 inches foot tall. The clothes that he wore was an orange ninja jumpsuit. Once he was changed, he looked at the clock, and only realized it was 5 in the morning. What the hell, Cynthia? I thought I was really later there, he said as he looked at the teenage Holstor girl. Cynthia has also changed too, as she was about 6 foot tall, close to her mother height, as she wore a green jacket, with a black tank top, that hugged her double D-sized breast. She had tight ninja gray jean with her kuni pouch wrap around her thigh. Her hair had grown as well as it was done in a long ponytail, her horns grown a lot longer than what normal cowgirl have. She giggled as Naruto pouted at her for what she did. If I remember correctly. She started to walk up to him. You did ask me to wake you up early, for something great today, she said as once she got close to him, she wrapped her arms around him and pulled him close to her breast, making him blush. I did? He said, trying to remember if he did. Cynthia nodded as they looked eye to eye. Yes, you did, but since you can't remember, here's some height for you, she said in a loving voice. It involves a brush, big stones, and a picnic. Naruto took a thinking pause which made her giggle, before he finally remembered. Oh. Woohoo. Now I remember. he said in a sing-song tone, as he put some chakra in his hand as in a puff of smoke, reveal a bucket of paint, while the other had a spray can. We were going to paint the monument of the Hokage again. He smiled as she did too. Haha, that right, for a minute there I thought you did forgot. She said, pulling out big paintbrushes from nowhere. He laughed as he rubbed the back of his head. Hee, well, I kinda did, after our last pranks we did. They laugh at the memory, as it involves a certain someone with a duck but hair, some actually ducks, and corns. Hee, yeah, the look on his face was priceless, haha. She laughed as they walk out. The only thing I don't remember is what the picnic is for? He said as he don't think the picnic would do anything in the prank. That I just added in since I want to spend a day with you, before I go to the summoning world, she said in a sad tone, since she have to be there for something important. Oh, I see, he said, thinking he won't see her for a while, as she nod. Then let not waste any time then. He smiled, making the whole store smile back. Yeah. 1 hour later. Many on the people of Konoha was beginning to wake, as some of the shop was opening, and a few of the leaf shinobi was getting tea, and dango. Life is sweet. Get those brats. Well, so much for that, as we see two Chunin chasing both Naruto and Cynthia, who was in her human form, as the Hokage monument have been painted, yet again. How is it that they keep on painting it? This like the 50th time? The first Chunin said, as his partner nodded his head. Yeah, how is it they keep on painting it without anyone noticing? The second Chunin said as well. Because Konoha defense sucked balls. Both Naruto and Cynthia thought as they jumped more hard of them. The two Chunin passed the alleyway. Both Naruto and Cynthia pulled down a tarp that they covered themselves with. He look like we did it against Cynthia, he said as Cynthia nodded with a giggle. They will never catch the orange milk. Naruto. Cynthia. What the heck are you two doing? Ayaha. Eek. Both teen jumped 5 feet off the ground in fright, as they land facing a male shinobi, with a scar around his nose. This person was Irika, a teacher of the ninja academy. Honestly, you two, you have to make a mess this early in the morning? Irika said in a disappointed tone. With both teen look unfazed by it. They know he was secretly proud of them, outrunning the Chunin, but have to not let it show. Ah, come on, Iryu sensei. We were just having fun is all, Cynthia said, as she kicked a pebble. Yeah, and if it make you feel better, we use washable paint and eco-friendly paint so it won't hurt the environment, Naruto said next, holding the tool they use. Yes, Naruto, I could see that since the past 10 years you and your pup brigade of a team us it whenever you can, he said, and it earned him a stink eyes from his two student. Okay, first of all, it not pup brigade, it the foxy pranking beast of Konoha. Also known as FPBK. Thanks, Shin-chan, Naruto said, giving her a kiss on the cheek which made her blush happily. And be a great way for us to make bonds as well help improve our ninja skills. You wouldn't want us to be easy target? He said as he and Cynthia made pouty face, with crocodile tears in their eyes. Irika signed as they made a good point. No, I wouldn't want that, but can you let's do it later or something since tomorrow at your test you need to do, Naruto, he said with both teen nod. Now come on, let go get some breakfast and dash. He then see both Naruto and Cynthia puff up into smoke, leaving a big bento box and a note. What in the world? He picked up the bento and read the note, before smiling at it. Those two little rascal, he said as the note read. Dear Irika. And, if you're reading this note, it mean you caught Cynthia Earth clones since she was the one who thought to us this jutsu. See, we had a feeling that you didn't eat breakfast, so me and Naruto and made a bento for, although it was mostly Naruto auntie since I think she have a thing for you, hee. And see, from your two favorite student, Naruto and Cynthia. P.S. And make sure you destroy the note or keep it well hidden. Irika smiled as he put the note in his tool pouch, as he head to the school, to eat his breakfast bento. But one thought did cross his mind. What are those two doing right now? On top of the Hokage monument. To us. Both teen cheers as they have successfully pulled another pranks and let Irika catch them this time, since they know that their last day in the academy with him would be over. Both Naruto and Cynthia have been sitting on the head of the fourth Hokage enjoying their picnic, as the Chunin chased their clones. They were having the time of their life, with Naruto laying on Cynthia's lap as she feed him a few of the snack they have left. You know it going to be boring without you tomorrow, Synth-chan, Naruto said with a hint of sadness. I know, Naruto, but I'll be back before you know it, okay? She said, kissing him on his whisker, making him purr. Hee, you're so adorable when you purr like that. Now what can I say, I'm just too good for my own good. He laughed, as he get up. Well, we better go, since I don't want you to miss my sexy jutsu. He laughed as Cynthia giggled at that, since she find that jutsu funny, and a good way to trick perverts in spilling secret. Soon they both vanish in a swirl of leaf, leaving nothing behind. At the Ninja Academy. Both Naruto and Cynthia made it to class early, Although there is one that they're more early than them, as that was the Nara boy, Shikamaru. He see the two couple, as he sigh. Troublesome, why couldn't you two come to class later like everyone else's? Because what the fun in that smart lazy bones? Naruto said, using the nickname his mom called the Nara clan for their high IQ and laziness. Troublesome, he said as he lay his head in sleep. Wonder if I should tell his mom he being lazy in class, again. Cynthia giggled as she and Naruto see Shikamaru shot his head up to give the two a glare, that made both of them laugh. A while later the class started filling up with students, with the clan heir, being Choji of the Akimichi clan, Kiba of the Inuzuka clan, Hinata of the Hyuga clan, Shino of the Aburame clan, and Ino of the Yamanaka clan. Then came the last loyal Uchiha, Noah's duck hair Sasuke, who was given everything after his brother killed all their clan. The sight of him makes Cynthia want to punch him in the face. Clam down, Shin-chan, when we graduate we'll be in a team, just you, me, and the FBBK, he said as he massaged her shoulder. As the civilian kids enter, with Sakura being the first to enter, sit next to Sasuke, and try and fail to flirt with him. Man, that just sad right there, huh? I don't get why girls are attracted to the emo type. They're just wasting their time and not even try to be kunoichi, she said with annoyance. Soon class started with Irika and Mizuki having them start the test. One by one the class took their turn on the transformation jutsu, with some passing and some failing. Soon it was Naruto's turn as he had a big old smile. Transformation jutsu. As a puff of smoke covered his body, and in his place was a teenage girl with sun-kissed hair, with a sexy body, and big D-sized breast. To say the less he passed, but got yelled at. Cynthia being next did the same, but once the smoke was gone, in her place as a huge bull man that was 10 feet tall, as the horn on her head pierced right through, as it was holding a big axe in one and in a crossbow on the other. To say the less, everyone but Naruto freak out. Holy shit! Look at the size of that transformation jutsu she in. It almost looked real if it wasn't the fact that it doesn't exist. I'm starting to crave for beef. Mizuki was shaking in his boot just by seeing this creature, as if it was staring at his very soul. What going on? Why do I feel that she's staring into my very soul? Is she just like the demon brat? Or maybe that he poisoned her with his demon magic? He thought as more and more things race in his mind. This is really good. If I didn't know any better, I say this is an accurate of the monster known as the Minotaur, he said as he write it down, missing the sweat drop of it. Well, this is how my dad looked when he was younger. She thought as Naruto and the demonic could make a solid transformation. She then undid the transformation jutsu. Thanks, sensei. I'd been working that all week after my mom told me about them. She lied with a smile, as she then took her seat next to Naruto, and with that the day went on. Night time at Ramen Ichiraku. We see both Naruto and Cynthia, with Irika, Nana, and Kiki eating ramen together as they talk about their day. And then I rip out his little friend, and crush it into paste, before I force-fed it to him and let him choke on it, Kiki said with Nana, Naruto, and Cynthia, laughing, as Irika looked a bit pale. Haha, that what he get for trying to hit on you, mom. Naruto said as he like it when his mom tell him about her mission, and how she kills some of her enemy, while torturing them by removing their manhood. Oh! Do you think you can teach it to me when I get back later? She said as Kiki rubbed her on the head, making her hair look a bit wild. May the gods have mercy on their souls, Irika said, fearing most of the male population. He sure thing, kid, just going to be weird without you around tomorrow, Kiki said as Naruto looked a bit down. Era, it will be fine, Kiki, after all we'll be back the day after, you know. After all, it part of the clan tradition. It also go for Kana and Robin since there is a month long. Nana said as she slurped the ramen in one go, as she put it next to 20 other. More please. You got it. Tucci the ramen guy said as he got work on the next order with help her father out. True, but it will feel forever for my little boy, since you two are never separated for the long. She teased as Naruto blushed at that. I take it that these two be together for years, Irika said as he slurped his ramen. Oh yes, it been 10 years after they meet, Nana said as her next ramen came. Thank you, Tucci-sama, said as he smiled at her. It no problem at all, ma'am, he said with a smile. Oh, please call me Nana. Cynthia rolled her eyes as she looked at Iam. She always say that since ma'am make her feel old, she said with a laugh, before she felt 2 knuckles on the side of her head and something soft on her back. What was that about me being old, Cynt chai? Nana said as her voice sounded evilly sweet, as she twists her knuckles fast that smoke was starting to form. Wah. Sorry, mom. I didn't mean to say it. Cynthia wailed as she flailed her arms up and down, and making her breast jiggle. Nana smiled as she stopped as her daughter had a few tears in her eyes. Good, that should teach you not to talk about my age. She then looked at the other. And the same to you as well. Smiling at them, which make the boys sweat in fear. I am a bit shaken, and in Kiki eating her ramen, not bothered by that. They enjoy their time there, as soon they left as they head to the Uzumaki compound. The next day. Last night was a bit of a letdown for Naruto. As soon as they were home, Cynthia and her mom went to the summoning world so that she could take the summoning hood ritual with Robin and Kana, since for them they needed to be there to get some demonic jutsu in. For once in Naruto life he felt like a piece of himself was missing, as he and Cynthia were always together. Sure, it may be for a short while, but still it just feel weird for him. He was at the academy at the moment, a bit late, but not late enough to be considered late. As he entered the classroom, Ino was the first to notice. "Hey Naruto. Where's Cynthia at?" she asked as the other student now noticed this too. "Yeah, where is she? She going to miss the last test for graduation," Choji said while eating some chips. "Bet she finally realized that Narabaka was just a weak little nobody," Sakura said, as she never liked Naruto, since the civilian told her many things unknowing to her. That was not true, as well never listened to her parents, since they tried to tell her that those were lies and Naruto was a good kid. Kiba shook his head. "I doubted Howler Money, since they were always together, even as a kid me and Hana always see them together," he said as Akamura barked in agreement. Sakura getting mad at that scram at him. "What did you call me, dog breath?" As Kiba was about to shout back, Naruto whistled at them to stop. "Okay, that enough of this, can you see class is about to start?" he said before smacking his lips and have a bit of disgust. "Yuck. That going to leave a bad taste in my mouth," he said with almost the whole class looking outside, with them puzzled by that. "What are you guys doing?" "Trying to see a flying pig, since I never expected to see the day you wanting the class to start," Kiba said as Akamura was wearing a helmet that was his size, that said safety first. It took a minute before Naruto laughed at that. "Ha! And man, I needed that. At least it took my mind a bit off of Cynthia being away to do a traditional in her side of the clan." He smiled as some of the students looked at him. What do you mean, and Naruto-kun?" Hinata said, as that what everyone want to know. Well. It mean that she still be graduating, but not in the village," Irika said as he entered the room. "What do you mean, sensei? Shouldn't she be here to take the same test as us?" Sakura said, as that it wasn't fair for them, especially her Sasuke-kun, that they have to take the normal test, and that bitch Bimbo take a special test. "I'm sure you're all wondering about that, but it not my place to say," Irika said as he got the paper ready. "Now then let Naruto-baka, you tell us right now, what that girl doing that in her special test that should be Sasuke," Sakura said as she interpreted the class. "Just like sensei said, it's something at her clan does that is traditional for them, as it cannot be miss," Naruto said, which made Sakura mad. "That bullshit. Since I never heard." "Sakura, if I hear one more word out of your mouth, you will fail the test, and have to wait another year to take it," Irika said as Sakura stayed silent, and took her seat. "Good, now let begin." After the test, Naruto was sitting on the swing, since he have failed his test. Even though his test was rigged by his other teacher, he went along with failing since he have a weird feeling that Mizuki was up to something. And his suspicion was right, as a while later he appeared next to him and told him about a make-up test that he could do. So Naruto play along as the fool who want to be a ninja, as Mizuki told him the make-up test, being he had to sneak into the Hokage tower and take the forbidden scroll, and bring it to a log cabin for out in the forest. Naruto acting on it, he agreed to do so, as Mizuki left leaving Naruto alone. Or so Mizuki thought. "So I take it you heard everything, Mom?" he said as Kiki stepped out of the shadow, with an angry look on her face. "Yes, and it seemed that Mizuki is going to use you as a scapegoat for it, Naruto. I know what you're thinking, and I couldn't agree more than to go along with it," she said with a smile that could make a man piss himself. Naruto, smiling equally as his mother, nodded as they left, leaving only in Leaf and a black mist. Some time later, it was night time as Naruto was at the meeting spot, as he waited for the soon-to-be traitor to come. In the meantime he read what was inside the forbidden scroll, seeing a few jutsu that can be useful, in both in fight and in normal life. How there are jutsu that could make someone brain into mush. That would be neat if the jutsu sign wasn't so damn long, he said as he rolled out the scroll a bit more, before writing down the one that he liked, and some for the demonic. After he made a somewhat copy of the scroll, he rolled it back up and put his copy someplace safe, as Irika-ken, as he was very angry at Naruto. "Naruto, what in the world were you thinking? Stealing the forbidden scroll of secret, are you out of your mind?" he shouted using his big head jutsu. "Ah, come on, Irika-sensei, Mizuki-sensei said that if I take this I get to become a ninja like you," he said as Irika looked surprised by this. "Mizuki told you this?" he said before he tackled Naruto as Kunin and ninja stars struck his back, as Naruto felt a bit of blood hiring his face. "I can't believe you would do such a thing, Mizuki," he said as he looked at the traitor ninja who was holding two big folded windmill shuriken. I was tired of this no-good village, and it way of live I thought I might as well leave, with the scroll," he said evilly as he see Naruto, who was checking if Iruka is alright. Now give me the scroll, Naruto, and I'll let you live. Don't listen to him, Naruto. Get away from here, Iruka said as Naruto looked frightened and confused. Soon Mizuki started to tell Naruto why the village hate him, that he was the reincarnation of the Nine-Tail for that destroyed the village, and killing Iruka parent. Naruto I was shadowed by his hair as he looked at Mizuki. As so that why? He said. Mizuki nodded as he readied his windmill shuriken with Iruka being helpless to help his student. You could cut the act, kid, I think you overdoing it. A voice called out. Oh, but mom, I was trying to make it more dramatic, he said as stepping out of the shadows was Kiki, along with Taro by her side. I see. Well, I have to tell big sis that your acting is better than here, she said with a smile on her face. What going on? Mizuki said as he was not expecting more to come. Do you really think I was dumb enough to not see your lie? Naruto said as he pulled out a kunin. What? It true, since Naruto is more smarter than you think, since he even noticed that you've been sabotaging his work, Taro said in an angry tone. So we made a trap for you, to show your true color, Kiki said before looking at Iruka. Although we wouldn't have guessed that you would be caught up in this mess, Iruka-sama. Mizuki growled as he pulled out a vial. I didn't think I would be needing this, but look like I might have to, he said before drinking the vial, and started to feel stronger, and turned to a tiger man monster. Rea Wagug. Era looked like he want to face us with everything he got, Kiki said before she cracked her knuckles, as she started to change to her true form. Look like we have to make it more even, huh, Taro? She said as she looked at Taro, who was already turning into his devil wyvern form, as he was 10 feet tall. What the? Mizuki said in shock, seeing that both Kiki and Taro in their true forms. And Naruto, what going on? Why do they look like demon? Iruka said in fear. Because Iruka they are. Well, not really, since my mom is a yokai, and Taro is a mix between a wyvern and a devil dog, but he's still. Naruto, now not the time, summon some backup just in case, and someone that could heal Iruka, while me and Taro hold him off for a bit, Kiki said as she and Taro charged at Mizuki, with her throwing some punches and Taro shooting out dark blue fireballs. Naruto do as she said as he then cut hand and start to do hand sign. Summoning art, demonic summon jutsu, Naruto shouted as he slammed his hand on the ground, and a puff of smoke covered them. He have a summoning contract, Iruka thought as Naruto was full of surprises. As the smoke started to go away, they see a two shadowy figure in shape of a teenage girl and a woman. Geez, Naruto, you couldn't wait tomorrow, could ya? Unless I finished just in time, partner. Well, it better late than ever, right, sweetie? Naruto smiled at the two-person he summoned as Iruka, and Mizuki was in shock on who it is. Glad to see you back, Synth-chan, Auntie Nana-chan, he said as it revealed to be Cynthia and Nana, in their true form, as Cynthia wear a leotard with a metal plate that cover her area nicely, and a battle skirt with the Uzumaki symbols and the demonic symbols. In her hands hold a two-sided axe and a bolted crossbow. As for her mom, she was wearing a battle medic cloth, with her dress hugging her figure in the right places, as she hold a staff that have a metal cow head and cow bell on it. Cynthia smiled at him before seeing Mizuki. Look like that gut of yours was right, Naruto, look like I owe you a date. She winked at Naruto, who just smiled more with a hit of blush. Yeah, but we'll talk about it later. Nana, can you help Iruka? He badly hurt. I'll see right to it. She walk up to Iruka and pull out a bottle frisk. Here, drink this. Iruka, a bit of confusion, looked at the bottle before looking at her. Tea, thanks, but I don't think dash. The frisk was shoved into his mouth as he drank the liquid in it. He started coughing since it was forced into him. What the heck? Are you trying to, huh? He noticed that the pain in his back was gone, as well see the kunin and shuriken fell to the ground. He was all healed up, as he looked at Nana, who giggled. That was one of my healing potion that I keep on me, when someone have wounds like yours. If it was a lost limb, well, I would have us one of my kind healing art, she said with Iruka was getting that it would be painful for him if he did lose a limb. They looked to see Mizuki getting his hand torn off by Taro as he swung it around like a chew toy, before sporting it out. Blah. This tastes disgusting. Well, he did took a drug, so it would be obvious it would taste bad, Kiki said as Mizuki tried to punch her with his other hand. Kiki grabbed his hand and snapped it off. He is disarmed, care to do the honor, Naru, synth, she said as shock and fear tried Mizuki run away as he didn't want to be killed. But he never had a chance as both teen was in his way, as said teen was performing a jutsus. Demon Ink Art, Bull Stone Stampede Jutsu, she shouted as she punched the ground and a stone bull shot out in a form of a stampede. Uzumaki Secret Art, Storm Whirlpool Jutsu, Naruto shouted as well as a whirlpool appear in his hand and shot it at Mizuki. Both jutsu then combined as they got closer to Mizuki. Soon the combine attach hit with Mizuki getting torn to shreds from the whirlpool, and turned to paste from the stone bulls. It was over as Mizuki was defeated as well was kill. Well, look like we got our first kill, Naruto and Cynthia said as she side-hug him, making sure he doesn't get hit from her armor. Why Naruto blush as he noticed something. Did her breast got bigger? He would ask her later as he see Iruka, tapping his feet. Iruka, I see you're all better, he said. Don't you Iruka, me Naruto, you have a lot of explaining to do. So let me get this straight. You, he point to Kiki, are a boss summoned from the demonic summoning, and they as well point to Taro, Cynthia, and Nana who are sitting on the ground as Naruto hugging Cynthia. Are also from the same summoning, that we're looking for any member of the Uzumaki clan, which Naruto is from said clan. Iruka said as Kiki nod her head to Naruto teacher. After the event that happened, they explained to Iruka about how Naruto was from a clan that he didn't know, who was ally with the summoning to the point they consider each other family, that they can summon them without payment. To say the less, he was shocked that if he didn't see what happened, he would have thought they were crazy. Iruka then sighed as he rubbed his head. I need a drink. What he wouldn't give to have some sake about now. We'll get some later, after we report to Hokage about what happened, Taro said as he stretched his arm a bit. Knowing Gigi, he probably saw everything that just happened, Naruto said as he nuzzled Cynthia, who gave out a giggle, before looking at Iruka. How are you feeling, sensei? Nothing out of place? Sounding worried if the potion Nana gave him didn't work completely. Iruka shook his head no, as Naruto smiled happily. That good. Naruto, were you thinking my homemade potion wouldn't work? Nana said with a hit of teasing as well scolding. Naruto chuckled nervously. Well, I didn't have any doubt about it, but I wanted to make sure that no bones was dislocated. He said as the potion Nana make will always heal, but doesn't help relocate bones to their proper place. Nana just giggled as she waved it off. You're lucky that you're right to worry, but he didn't show any signs of that. With that said, Naruto was glad Iruka was okay. Nana then got up and dusted her clothes. Well, we should get to the Hokage now since we wasted a bit of time just talking. Iruka nodded as he got up as well. Quite right, we should go, but before we do, he waved both Naruto and Cynthia over to him, as he smiled at them. Naruto, Cynthia, come here for a minute, he said as both teens look at each other before nodding and walk up to him. I want you two to close your eyes. Can you do that? He said as Naruto and Cynthia closed their eyes. A minute later, they heard him speak. Okay, you can open them now, he said as Naruto and Cynthia opened their eyes and seeing Iruka was missing his headbands. Congratulations on being Genin, you two, he said with a smile as both Naruto and Cynthia had the leaf headband wrap around their head. A/N in this story, Iruka have two headbands, one around his head and the other around his arm that was well hidden. Both teens smile as they hug Iruka with Naruto crying a bit, as he finally became a ninja. After a bit they headed to the Hokage Tower, but not before the demonic summons turned back to their human form. The next day, we find ourselves back to the Uzumaki compound, as Naruto was sleeping well in his bed. He then turned around as his hand grabbed a soft pillow. Or at least that's what he thought. Hearing this, Naruto opened his eyes as everything was a bit blurry, as he felt the soft pillow more, resulting in hearing more moans. It then clicked in his head as his eyes focused more, as the blur was Cynthia, who was sleeping next to him, under the blanket, with his hand groping her big breast. Naruto blushed up a storm as he was groping his best friend's breast. Crap. 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 Why is she in my room and is in bed with me? He thought, groping her more. Although I have to admit her breasts are very soft, and stop that, he thought as he doesn't want to feel like a pervert. Just then Cynthia started to wake up as she got up, as the blanket that covered her slipped off, revealing her naked body as she rubbed her eyes as her breasts jiggle about. Naruto entered full panic mode seeing this. Oh god, she was naked. She going to kill me, before her dad get a chance. He thought as he imagined a chibi version of himself getting beaten up and killed by a very angry chibi Cynthia who was holding a butcher knife and chopping Naruto up. After rubbing her eyes, she then looked at Naruto with a smile. Good morning, Naruto, she said as she moved a bit close to him, as it was revival that she had a pink and orange panty. I hope you had a good night's sleep, she said lovingly. Naruto covered his eye as he wanted to be respectful to her and not be seen as a pervert. Sinchan, why were you in bed with me, as well why are you naked in bed with me? He said, fight a blush that is coming up. Cynthia titled her head before she just laughed a bit. Haha, sorry about that, Naruto, but I've been sleeping with you when we were 5, but the naked part was last year. She poked her finger cute like. Plus you were pretty warm to sleep with, if I have to be honest, and I don't mind being naked around you. She blushed as she cupped her cheeks. Naruto was quiet for a moment before he hugged her. Well, I guess that fine, he said, still blushing. They stayed like that for a few minutes before Naruto spoke. Did your breast gotten bigger, Synth-chan? Cynthia blushed pink with a nod. Why, yeah, it's actually normal for Holstor breast to grow. She then smiled with a teasing look. We even start to produce milk at 15, so don't be surprised if my breasts get big as me. She giggled at the look of Naruto's face. Ah, really? Wouldn't it start hurting you? He said, started to imagine Cynthia's breast growing bigger and bigger till it was as big as her whole body, before her breast pop. She giggled as she shook her head now. Not really, it just get annoying when we get too big to milk ourselves is all. She booped Naruto in the nose, as he scrunched it up. Although we do stop producing milk if we get too big, as say, she started thinking before smiling and closing her eyes. Then the village. Naruto looked more shocked as he imagined a chibi version of himself being crushed or covered in a chibi Cynthia village-sized breast. D-damn, everyone would be dead by the time someone milk you, he said before noticing Cynthia flinching at that. Was it something I said? She shook her head. No, it wasn't what you said, it's just that I wouldn't want anyone to milk me except my mom, other girls that are my friends, or she looked at Naruto with a blush on her face. Naruto tilted his head, trying to figure out the third thing she was going to say. Or. She blushed more before squeaking out. You. To say the less, Naruto was surprised by this, as he thought that all the people she would trust milking her, it would be himself to have to milk her. Are you for real? He said as he got a nod from her. He thought it for a few minutes before smiling at her. Then I guess I'm honored to do it then. I'll be as gentle as I can be. Cynthia smiled at as she thought he would be weirded out by this. And glad, because for this moment on we are a couple. Yay dash. It took a moment before it registered in his head as his eye bulged out. CC couple. He shouted as Cynthia nodded to him. We are a couple now, and to let you know, when us Holstor pick a male to milk us, it is our ways of asking them to be our mates, she said as her cowtail swayed a bit. Naruto felt like he was set up, but at the same time he was okay with it, since they'd been friends for a long time. Not to mention the little crush he had for her that grown over the years. He just smiled as he accepted it. Well, guess I have to take you out on a date then, Synth-chan, he said, rubbing the back of his head. Cynthia nodded at this. Yes, you have to. Make sure at a nice place, she said in a joyful tone before she gave him a nervous look. But before you do that, can you she pointed to her breast. Help me milk these, she said as she pulled out a few empty glass milk jugs out of nowhere. Naruto just chuckled as he helped her out. A few minutes later, after milking Cynthia to the point where her breast was normal size she had before she left the village, she was very pleased at how Naruto had milked her, as well how gentle he was to her, although she regretted on not telling him to warm his hands up, as she let out eat from the touch, but hey, she wasn't perfect. As of right now, she and Naruto was in the kitchen, as she wore a loose top, and Naruto put her milk in the fridge, as well a writer that said Holstor milk with a little drawing of Cynthia doing a peace sign. So how come you have to put Holstor milk instead of your name on it? Naruto asked as he was cooking himself and Cynthia breakfast. She just giggled as she looked at Naruto. It's so that it wouldn't sound like that this is my milk that I got for myself, and no one could have it, she said as she went to the table and sit down on it. Not to mention that since this is my first milk I produce, I have to put my races on it, in case someone drink it. Why that? Isn't it like normal milk? He said as Cynthia shook her head no. Not quite, as normal milk is from cows, and is just something to drink, as Holstor milk have a lot of healing factors as well, make your bones more stronger than normal, she said as Naruto imagined a chibi Naruto with a few injury drinking normal milk, that not helping him much, but also showing another chibi Naruto drinking Holstor as the injury disappear and feeling stronger. But there is a side effect when Holstor milk is drink from someone other than their kind, it would have a weird effect on the body, she said as the chibi Naruto was thinking was having a weird effect on his body. Yipes. Are those effects permanent on them? He said as much as he wanted to see it work, he does not want to have something weird on his body. A giggle was heard as Nana came into the kitchen. Not really, as it will just be for a few hours or so depending on how much you drink from it, but I wouldn't recommend on finding out before a Holstor healer removes said effect, she said as both teen looked at her. I was listening to your conversation, and I'm guessing my little synth milk herself, she said before noticing Naruto blushing. Or did she ask for you to do it, Naruto? She said as now both teen blushed from this. Era look like my baby girl is growing up fast. Mom, Cynthia said as she blushed as Naruto was blushing more as he focused on making breakfast. Nana just giggled as she opened the fridge. Oh, you know I like to tease you, sweetie, but I'm just happy you two are finally a thing, she said as she pulled out the jug her daughter milk was in. Just don't go making grandkids for me too soon. She heard a thump as she looked to see her daughter was banging her head on the table, as Naruto was blushing a lot more now, not noticing the eggs was burning. Era, you kids are just too easy. She giggled as she placed the jug and used a jutsu to see the effect her daughter milk have. Naruto being the first to notice this, as well throwing the burnt eggs in the sink. Nana, what jutsu is that you're using? He asked since Nana rarely used her jutsu. It's something that every healer holster know. It call holster art, schematic jutsu. It let healer know any effect that is happening or have on living things or food and water. She said looking at the effect. Oh my, and you are quite lucky I check it or you might have gotten a big surprise. She said as she started doing a few hand sign. What do you mean, Mom? Cynthia said sounding a bit worried that her milk might have a nasty effect. Nana focusing on the jutsu. Holster healing art, purification jutsu. She shouted as Chakura energy flown to the jug as it glow a mint green color, before it faded away. Sorry about that, and just to let you know that your milk sweeter is well, she didn't know how to put it since it's something she never expected. Well, what? It doesn't make head explode, does it? Don't tell me it might be poisoned, or worse. She said as she do not want it to hurt Naruto or her friend as she have to give them milk without it being checked or purified. No, not that, although the poison one would be only possible if a holster was crossbreed with a monster, or demon with poison in their gen. She said as Cynthia sighed in relief. Then what does it do then? Naruto asked as he finished make them breakfast, as his mom come enter in her Oni form who yawns. Well, it make them get heavy. Nana said as both teen looked confused. You mean my milk make anyone that drink it into living stone? Cynthia said but got a no from her mom. Do they turn to metal? That would be bit cool effect. Naruto said think that he would be running into battle as his body was made of metal. Nana sighed as she rubbed her head not noticing Kiki opening the fridge. No, not that. She said before just saying it. It make anyone gain weight, or more accurately make them gain weight to their butt, breast, and or body. Both teen look at each other before looking at Nana with a deadpan look. Is that all, Mom? For a moment there I thought it was really bad. Cynthia said as she was worried for nothing. Well, I wasn't sure how you would have reacted since this is literally the first of its kind. Nana said in as both teen look at her, as Kiki was looking thought the fridge to get something to drink. What do you mean by the first of its kind, Mom? Cynthia sounding worried again. It mean what it mean, that it is the first of its kind ever to exist. Nana said as she entered teaching mode. Usually holster milk have one side effect that affect the body, but you milk honey have three. She said as Cynthia was surprised by that along with Naruto. Wait, so you mean that Shinchan milk would do that to anyone that drink it? He said as he was wanting to drink some, but glad he didn't. Nana just nodded her head. Yes, but like I said, it'd be temporary as it would last about an hour or so, depending on how much is consumed. She said as she sighed. I'm just glad you only made one jug, honey. She said before noticing both teen looking at each other. Don't tell me. She said with a hit of worry. Well, you see, Mom, I actually had enough to make for 2 today and well. She started to poke her finger. Nana just sighed before she giggled. Well, at least you didn't make 50 like my sister did when she was your age, and didn't want anyone but herself to do it. She said remembering that her sister was stuck in her room as she called her to help her out. To say the less, it was funny how she wanted the boy of her dream to be the first to milk her only for Nana to do it. Well, I'd better purify that one before. What the hell? Kiki shouted. Both turned and the older holster turned just in time to see that Kiki's breast was starting to grow rapidly as her bra that she was wearing was starting to look too tight on her. That wasn't the only thing as her Oni booty was growing as well, making her panties into thongs. Make it stop, I'm already having trouble finding clothes as is already. She said, although that a bit far from the truth, as she could always return to the demonic village, but she not going to go there in her underwear that might rip at any moment. Oh my. Nana said as she was quite shocked to see the true effect of her daughter milk kick in on the Oni. Look like Kiki dear drank some of your milk, sweetie. She giggled as Cynthia face spammed herself at what her mom said. Not helping, Mom. She said before looking at her mom, as she watched Kiki breast and asked grow a bit more before stopping. Unless it stopped and she would wait an hour for it to wear off. That may be a problem. Naruto said as he pulled out the half-empty jug. Oh dear. Nana said in worry. Look like she'd be stuck like that for half the day. She said with Kiki snapping her head to Nana direction. Half the day. Oh, this is just great, all of them going to think I'm a bimbo with these things. She said as she groped her ass. Although she wouldn't admit it out loud, she kinda like it, or more accurately she like her huge ass since female Oni body are sometime big-breasted, and it would feel quite nice to have something bigger than her breast. Well, that what you get for drinking before looking, Kiki, she said shaking her head. Just be glad that you have a day off today. Couldn't she go in her human form, Auntie? Naruto said thinking that it would help. Sadly Nana shook her head. Not quite, since it still affect her human form, just it will be half as big as she is now, and I don't think any human-sized bra or panty would fit. She said as Cynthia nodded her head. Oh well, guess you have to wait for it to wear off, Mom, but in the meantime here. Naruto gave his mom her breakfast for her since no point in talking right now if the food get too cold. With that out of the way they ate breakfast, before the two teen head out for their date. At a restaurant in the afternoon. Naruto and Cynthia spent a lot of time in their date, as they went to the park and fed some duck, went on the swing, and even watching the cloud go by. It was later on that it was afternoon, and they went to go eat. The restaurant that Naruto and Cynthia went to was one that is very popular to many in Konoha, as it have almost everything that is served in the elemental nation. Although when Naruto is around not many would stick around since the owner there would threaten anyone that tried to hurt the teen. Right now though Naruto and Cynthia were the only two there at the moment, to continue their date. Ha! So you two finally became a thing, eh? The restaurant owner said as he cooked up the two-teen order. Naruto chuckled, as Cynthia was taking a sip of her tea. Hee well yeah we finally became a thing and what are you doing Ken? He said as he noticed the chef now named Ken writing something down as he stopped cooking. Oh just adding up my and the ramen Ichiraku winning, that we made with the other food joints. He said as Naruto looked at him with the are you for real face as Cynthia giggled. Ken was your average man, who have light gray hair, and hazel green eyes. His body build was a bit of muscle with a beer belly. He was about 5 feet 5 inches tall. The clothes that he wearing is that of a blue GI with the words that said food for the soul, for strong kind hearts with a heart dotted on it. Ken put his hands up in a mock surrender, as he laughed a bit. He well it better than what some of the other that took part of the bet said that synth would get with anyone other than you, so cut me and ramen got a break here. Naruto looked at him for a moment before signing as Ken was right to bet on him. Although, that lead him to ask another question. Is there any more bet that we should know about? Ken nodded a bit. Yeah, but I won't say anything since I'm pretty sure you end up doing something that might make it look like you're helping me out, he said before thinking. After all, I don't think you like that. I bet you would get a harem. As he pretty sure some of the girl that Naruto was with would have feeling. You should have our mom and Auntie Yumika in on it, since they like to bet a lot, especially Auntie Yumika, since she's super lucky. She said at the thought of her other and she consider. Isn't it because she have the lucky cat touch? He said with a chuckle as he have heard of Yumika. Cynthia nodded at that, as she know why he said that. After all, Ken is the monster, from the demonic summon. You see, a few years back when Naruto and his family were settling in the Uzumaki compound, other demonic also came too, but not to live there as it was more like opening store there, so that they could help Naruto out a bit more, as well to be one of many store to sell him what he need without scamming him. Or giving him something that would kill him or get him killed. Of course Naruto at first didn't want that, but after a few days he started to go to them more often. Ken almost went full-on monster form on someone when they tried to kick Naruto out of his restaurant. Literally. But lucky for him, or more so the Umbu took the guy to TI. If they would have gotten there more late, that part of the village would have been level. Ken shake that out of his head as he continues to cook. So when is team placement going to be since I had what happened yesterday, from Kiki? He said as he finished their order and one of the girl with an ice blue hair and eyes wearing a dress that have a design of the ocean all over. Her breast wasn't that big but her ass was big and wide than most girls in the village. Although her punch could send someone flying, when they tried to get a feel for her ass. She came to pick up the order and walk to where the two lovebirds table are at. It might be a few days since the event from yesterday that happened, Naruto said as he looked at Ami and blushed a bit noticing how cute she is, as Cynthia giggling at that, as she pull out a notebook and write something down on it. If anyone looked closely at what said girls that Naruto start to notice as said girls have a huge crush on him when he was age 6. List. Ken frowned when Naruto mentioned that as he made a fist. If I wasn't tired from yesterday, I would have buried that guy 20 feet under right then and there. He said as his arms started to turn to rock as well grow a bit. The girl looked at her boss before saying, Boss, your golem is showing. She said before Ken looked at his arms and freak out a bit. Shit again. He said as he waved his arm fast before it was his human arms again. Thanks for pointing it out, Ami. Ken said as Ami smiled at him. No problem, boss. She said as she then gave Naruto and Cynthia their order. Here you go, guy, as this will be on the house for you both becoming a thing, and graduation. She said with a smile as Ken did a double take. Hey, I wouldn't say that it would be on the house. He said, as the two teen and Ami looked at him, before he smiled. It'd be on the house for the rest of the week with you two, your friends and family, so digging you too. He said with a laugh, seeing them smile like that. It wasn't long before they finished eating, but before they left Naruto have to use the restroom really quick before they continue on their date. So you like Naruto, don't you, Ami? Cynthia said as Ami blushed like crazy and covered her face as steam literally came out of her head. How did you know? She said as she looking at her friend, as she didn't notice her legs turn into water. Ken go back to cooking as a way so he could look busy and listen in. Come on, Ami, we've been friend, for years I noticed the way you look at him. She said as she messed with Ami's short hair a bit. This resulted in Ami turning to her true form, being a slime girl, who was blushing light blue, since her dress clung onto her watery body. She started to poke her finger together, as she went in her slime form, since most clothes she wear would either get wet or disintegrate in her body. She is glad that her dress is the only thing that stay on her. Why, you know how much I hate being in this form. Almost every clothes I have from this village would disintegrate. She said as she already feel her panties she bought was already starting to break apart. I really like those bare panties, she thought to herself. Cynthia rubbed the back of her head, as she tend to forget. Sorry about that, Ami, you know me that I would always do that, to show I care about you like a sister, she said before smiling at her. Plus, if I remember correctly, didn't Naruto said that you look so cute in your slime form? She said as this made Ami blush and started to shimmer. Ami can't deny the fact that it was that same words that Naruto said back then that made her have a crush on him when they were kids, since during the time she looked like a big droplet with eyes. Of course, she might as well give up on that since Naruto now have a girlfriend, so no point in dash. I wouldn't mind sharing him, you know, Cynthia said as the slime girl face turned purple from her blushing. What make you say that? Ami said in a bit of a shout as she wondered how she knew what she was thinking. One, which is again, we're friends so I know what you think, and two, you were saying it out loud, Cynthia said as she laughed when she saw Ami shrunk down from embarrassment. Calm down, Ami, or you be a steam cloud for the whole day. Seeing her friend act like that tend to turn her to a cloud of steam, and it pretty hard for her to move around. As Amo heard that, she head to the kitchen and absorbed some water, before being back to her normal height. And she was 5 feet 1 inch tall. Once Ami was looking more human-like in water form, she looked at Cynthia, and gave her a pout. It's not my fault that you keep on doing that, she said as Cynthia just chuckled. But what do you mean by share him? Oh, you know, like a harem, since I know of couple of girls that want to give him a lot of love, she said as she have seen other girls having crushes on him, but was too shy to do anything, including herself, but she was just glad she was the one to confess her feeling to him first. After all, she'd been with him for a very long time. Ami thought for a moment before smiling. Anything I should know if I agree to this, she said as she wiggled her water hips a bit. Cynthia, smiling at her friend, as well one of Naruto's second girlfriends, now took her hand out. Yeah, I call first on sex and having his kid, as well being the head wife, she said and laughed at Ami, who pouted. Shoot, I thought you would have agreed without saying those, she said, but smiled as she shook Cynthia's hand. But you got a deal, Cynthia. With that, both girls smiled happily, as Naruto came back from the restroom. Hey girls, what are you shaking hand for? He said, not knowing what had happened. Ken laughed in the background, as the blonde teen looked at him. What? I'm asking a question is all, he said and started to pout when Ken laughed a bit more harder. Ignore him, Naruto, he probably just remembering a joke he heard, Cynthia said before pushing Ami forward to Naruto and whisper. Go get him, tiger. As she stay back and watch. Naruto looking confused, wondering why his girlfriend did that before looking at Ami. Is there something on your mind, Ami? He said, looking at the slime girl and fight a blush at just how cute she is. Ami looking at Cynthia, who gave her a nod, before the slime girl got enough courage to speak. Well, you see, Naruto-kun, the thing is you She started to poke her finger, making her more cute as is. It that I, she said, but said something to quite. You, Naruto said, tilting his head. That I, her face went light blue. That I love you, she shouted and covered her face. Naruto being stunned by this, as he was not expecting this at all. You love me? He said as Ami nodded her head. I do, ever since you said at how cute I look when we were kid, that I started to develop feelings for you, she said as her light blue blush turned a bit darker. And I don't mind sharing you with Cynthia, or any girl that have feeling for you as well, she said as she then felt a hug, and see that Naruto was hugging her. I accept your feeling, Ami, and to be truthful, I also had a crush on you too, just as much as Cynthia, he said as he then gave Ami a kiss, in which she started to steam up a bit but did not mind as the one she fell for love her back. Cynthia smiled at that, and pulled out her notebook, and put a heart with a number 2 in it that have Ami name next to it. After that she went and grabbed a water hose and plugged it in Ami back and turned on the water so Ami doesn't get all cloud-like. After that they stopped kissing, with Naruto smiling at her. I'm starting to feel like I might get a harem from within a day, he said, as he rubbed the back of his head. Be careful what you say, or it might happen, Ken said as he started to write something down, as it have his and Tucci name with a title that said, Our Bet Agents Naruto Haters Bet. He and Tucci hate people that hate Naruto, as Tucci would kick them out whenever they make nasty comment of his number 1 customer, who he consider as a son. Ken would do the same thing to them as well, make them trip on their feet. After all, stone golems are the best at making people trip on stone and rock, you know. Naruto blushed at that, as Ami giggled before noticing she got a lot thicker. Huh. When did I get? Oh shit, Cynthia said as she went and turned off the water hose. Sorry, Ami, when you were kissing Naruto you were starting to steam up, so I put the water hose in you back, she said as she rubbed the back of her head, as they look at Ami's body. To say the less, she was very thick, as her hip area could get her stuck in any doorway, as well bend a couple of stool with it. Her upper body was a bit thick as well, as she had a muffin top belly, and double-D-sized breast. Her face looked a bit rounded, but not by much. Naruto smiled as he gave Ami another hug, as well gave her ass a squeeze, resulting her letting out a cute "Eep, you still look as cute as ever, Ami-chan," he said, as Ami smiled at that. Cynthia giggled as she gave Ami ass a playful, but also painful slap which made her eep again. "Hee, I'll say, you might need 2 chairs for this big ass here," she said in a joking way. Ami gave her a pout, before she smiled mischievous. "Well, if you like my ass so much, why not have one for your own?" she said as she made water testicle and make them inch close to the black hair girl. Cynthia paled at the thought of her ass being messed with by the now mischievous slime girl. "Why, you wouldn't dare," she said before she yelped and dodged the water tentacle, as she started to run. "Get back here!" Ami said, turning into her human form, who was still as thick as her slime form, chasing the girl in the streets. He looked like Cynthia overdid it on Ami this time, Hucken, he said as he watched the even that happen. "Nah, I have a feel she would start acting like that, but then again she probably want to have fun," he said as he made a few order, as the Akimichi clan enter. "Yeah, I better go and make sure they're alright," he said as he bought some water bottle, and left pretty fast after paying for them. A/in. Ken said the food was free, not the drinks. "What got Naruto in a hurry?" one of the male Akimichi members said. "Oh, he just have to make sure both his girlfriends don't do anything that might hurt each other," he said as Choji, who was also there, was surprised by that. "Naruto have a girlfriend?" he said as Ken nodded his head. "Yup, happened today, as well, Ami being his second and Cynthia being first," he said as the Akimichi member were surprised by this, but was glad that Naruto was getting with the girls that the village had seen him with. Finally, I thought they never get to getting," Choji dad said as Ken served them, since he was alone at the moment. "That what I just said, but glad it happened," he said as he looked at the door that Naruto, Ami, and Cynthia went thought. The kid really needed all the love he could get, after what this village been doing to him, he said, as the Akimichi clan nodded in agreement, although Choji wasn't paying attention as he was enjoying the food. "Yeah," Choza said before asking, "By the way, kid, did you hire a new girl to help out?" "Yeah, because those hip could put my wife to shame, if she ever saw that girl," one of the member of the Akimichi clan said, as he thought of that girl. But that resulted in Ken laughing up a storm. "What seems so funny?" "Haha, oh, I'm just laughing at the fact that girl you're talking about is Ami," he said, and laughed harder as the pale look of the guy, as he along with the other members remember seeing the bomb hip bomber, as she was nicknamed from that even. The guy was in the hospital for a month from that insistent. "I see," the Akimichi member said, not wanting to be the like that guy. "Haha, well, that interesting. Seeing her that big must have been one of Cynthia pranks again?" Choza said as it feel like it was said girl. After all, he saw Ami in the morning when the clan went there for breakfast. Ken just laughed a bit more, not wanting to tell them that she along with the other that there are demonic summoning that want to protect Naruto from anyone from in and out of the village. Well, not yet anyway, since Naruto said he will revive them once he tune in or during the exam. But in the meantime he'll enjoy being in his human form, while he can as he look at the next few customer that treat Naruto kindly enter. "Welcome to Mother Nature dinner, where food for the soul, for strong kind-hearted eat, what will be your order?" Chapter 9, ch. 9. Few days later. Naruto and Cynthia was walking to the academy, although one of them was in a sour mood. "I'm so going to get her for this," Cynthia said as she rubbed her rear for a while. "Well, that what you get after you slap her ass like that." Naruto spoke as he remembered what happened a few days ago, after he caught up with them. To say the less, Cynthia was being held by water tentacle, as another was in her mouth forcing her to drink Ami water slime, which resulted in the girl ass to grow big as Ami. Afterward, Ami then started slapping Cynthia ass with her water tentacles, making said girl cry out. It was very painful to see, but at least they were in the compound instead of anywhere else. After that, Cynthia ass was as red as can be, even turned crimson once Ami removed the water she made her drink. That was good that she wasn't going to have to make up some lie about why her but more bigger, but at the same time she wouldn't be sitting for 2 days and a week. Cynthia grumbled as Naruto have a point on that, but then said she could have gone easy on the spanking though. Naruto just chuckled at that before giving her a side hug. "Yeah, but hey, what can you do? You got her mad, and she got you back, just be glad she didn't die to prank you for revenge." Cynthia nodded at that since Ami pranks can be too funny at time. Afterward they made it to the academy, as they entered their classroom, with a few of their classmates already present, and went to their seat. Or at least try in Naruto's case, as he got tackled by a girl with pink hair and D-shaped hair clips. "What the heck took you two so long, Naru?" Naruto laughed as he pat the girl's head. Sorry Kana, me and Synth-chan wanted to have a nice walk." Kana, who has matured a lot since they were kids, as her hair was a bit more longer reaching past her round ass, as her breast was a single D-cup. The clothes she wore was a dark pupil vest, with a long-sleeved ninja shirt with a few chain wrap around her left arm, and a dark purple ninja battle skirt, and pants that cling on to her legs. Around her neck was a few snake skin and a bird's skull in the form of a necklace. I see, she said as she looked at Cynthia with a teasing look. So it was just a walk and not we were doing some naughty things in bed, my how lewd. Kana giggled evilly before getting bonk on the head. You really have to stop teasing people like that, before it might end up happening, sis. A boy said, who was wearing a crimson-red ninja shirt with a few feathers and snake skulls around his neck, and a few chain in his right arm. He also had a crimson-red ninja short and a ninja pouch around his waist. His purple hair was long as Kana, if he didn't have it in a ponytail. One noticeable thing about his hair was that there was a long cowlick at the top of his head. It's not my fault that we haven't been here for a while, Robin, Kana said, as she hates the fact that she mess out a lot. Robin, a once shy little boy, was now a confident teen who would always have to get his sister out of trouble that she tend to make or get into. Ever since last month, both twin had to be in the demonic wood for some extra training, as well having to take a test to see if they're fit to fight alongside Naruto. To say the less, they pass, as they are known as the deadly twins in the summoning world, and they're also going to make it their title him the ninja world to once they get their teammate. Like that would matter to them, since they already know who it is. All 14 went to their seat as they talked for a bit, although to a few that were already there, was kinda surprised to see 3 of their classmates back with them. Shikamaru sighed as he rested his head on the table. This is troublesome, a few of the FPBK are here, and knowing them the rest might be arriving soon, from whatever trip they needed to take, he said as he looked at Choji, who surprising was holding 2 bags of chips, with one in his hand and the other to Shikamaru, who smiled at him and accepted. You didn't have to, Choji. I know, but knowing them you might need it, or if it okay with you to hold on to it, since the last pranks they did kinda got me as well, opening his bag of chip and started to eat some of it. Shikamaru laughed a little as he remembered what happened to Choji last year ago when he was caught FPBK range of pranking. Choji have gotten a limited time chip that came once a year per season, and he managed to get one. Too bad for him that he was hit by a paint balloon which also got into his chips. To say the less, he got depressed that his chips was ruined and the store sold out. Although one good thing about it, that Naruto and his pranking squads apologized to him since they weren't targeting him, and have him meet the person that made the snack, and got him 3 boxes of new limited snack, since they made a bit too much for the new season. Yeah, Shikamaru said as he put his away for later, in case Choji needed it. A while later the rest of the student came in. Although Sakura and Ino came in charging, and started fighting to sit with Sasuke. This seat is my Ino pig. No. It mine. Bowed head. This is starting to be troublesome, Naruto said as Cynthia and Kana giggle, while Robin just chuckle. You know when trouble will happen, when Naruto used a Nara signature line. Soon Sakura was sitting next to Sasuke while Ino grumbled as she had to sit next to Shikamaru. Although she noticed Naruto, who have a ninja headband on, was here as well, Cynthia, Kana, and Robin. She gave a mischievous smile as she walked close to them before asking them quietly. Surprised that you 4 are here. I thought you failed the test, Naruto, and I thought you 3 weren't going to be back already, expressly used Cynthia. Naruto chuckled at the gossip queen, since she always tried to get some info off of him or anyone, and tend to gossip about it. Well, I can't say much, but I will say that he stopped as Ino looked at him with her eyes sparkling like stars as she wanted to know. It a secret, Naruto said, putting his finger at his lips. This resulted in Ino tripping on her feet somehow, as she looked a bit annoyed. Sheesh, Naruto, you had my hopes up on some juice gossip marital, just for you to say that. If it make you feel better, Ino, Naruto is in a relationship, Robin said as he remembered hearing Ken talk about Naruto and his slowly or quickly growing harem. Almost all the demonic in the summoning would heard the news, and to say the less, they were happy this had finally happened. Although Hector was cry his eyes out, say his daughter is she growing up so fast. Robin just chuckled at that memory. Ino gasped before squealing loud that everyone covered their ears. Eeeeee! Naruto has a girlfriend, Ino shouted. Huh! A few of the graduates said, surprising about Naruto has a girlfriend. Kiba gave Naruto an arm hug. Dang man! When did you get in a relationship so fast? He said before realizing that Naruto was also wearing the ninja leaf headband. And when did you even manage to pass the test? I thought you failed it, the dog boy said as Akamaru barked in agreement. A few of them asked that too, while others asked who the girl he with. Although one was heartbroken. And Naruto-kun has a girlfriend, Hinata Hyuga thought as tears leak out from her eyes, as she have missed her chance to be with Naruto. She is a bit happy that he was someone, she just wished that someone were her. Kana, noticing that Hinata tears, already figure out what wrong. She had a crush on Naruto too, huh? the girl thought before hearing a yipe from her brother. Damn it, Robin! I'm going to get you for that, Naruto said as he wanted to say it, but he was also smiling since it made it easy for him to say he have girlfriends. He's still going to kick that bird boy butt though, as Naruto chased Robin around the classroom who was laughing like a madman. It would have been a bit more nice if this continues on, but it came to a stop when Sakura tried and failed to hit Naruto, who jumped out of the way in time. What the hell? Why you have to ruin their fun billboard head? Ino said as she thought it was kinda cute when Naruto was mad. Sakura looked at Ino as if she'd grown a second head. Because he shouldn't be here, Ino pig. This is supposed to be student that passed the test, and last I remember, this baka didn't pass it. Shouting to her former friend. She got a point, Ino. Naruto shouldn't be here, and I doubt that they give a makeup test to do that, said one of the random female student, before adding more. Not to mention what girl would want to date him, heck I bet you anything he just pay them to be his girlfriend. She said as a few other student who are civilian nod in agreement. Cynthia gave that student an evil eye, as she almost activated the demonic death jutsu. And how would you know if he would pay them to do that him? What if they actually have feeling for him, and just told him they're feeling him? She said as she, Kana, and Robin let out a bit of their killer instinct at them, making them shiver in fear. Before the female student could speak, Irika came inside the classroom. Alright everyone, I hope you're ready for. He stopped noticing some of the soon-to-be gradient when not in their seat, as well felt the killer instinct coming from Cynthia, Kana, and Robin. Did I interpret anything? He said as he wanted an explanation from them. Which he got his sure, as both sides told him about what happened in class, although he already knew what was going on, since he was listening in on them, and was disappointed that some of the civilian side graduate added in lie. Like Naruto stealing the headband, attacking them, and saying he has a girlfriend that he forced into a relationship. Sheesh, who are they trying to fool since I heard everything? Not to mention Nana told me about Naruto, Cynthia and Ami relationship. He thought, remembering how happy Nana was when she told him. He also had to be taken to the hospital, since she broke his ribs and arms from her hug. Who would have thought Nana hug could break a man in half? I see, well, there's an explanation why Naruto is here, Irika said as he took charge. Also glad you are back, Robin. Kana, I just hope you two cannot cause any trouble after returning for your clan affair. He said as he now know about Naruto demonic summoning, that he got more of the rundown on how all of Naruto's new friends share the same interest in pranking. Robin and Kana noted as they were already informed about Irika knowing what they are now. Some of them wondered what it was, but hold back on that question for later. Irika then explained about why Naruto would be graduating with them, saying that Naruto was taking a special test to pass, but would be considered a dead last. Some of them felt sorry for Naruto while other, the civilian graduate, Sakura and Sasuke, felt like it would be considered a better option. After all, they would be happy that he would die on his mission. Anyway, Irika then told them how proud he is that they are now ninjas, and would be of great help to the village. Alright, now for team placement, Irika said as he told them what team they are in. After naming the graduate for Team 106, he got to Team 7. Team 7 will be Sasuke, Sakura, and random male name here. Sakura career for being with Sasuke, while the other was bash their head for being stuck with Sasuke team. Team 8 was Kiba, Hinata, and Shino. Team 10 was Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji. And lastly Team 11 are Cynthia, Robin, Kana, and Naruto, as their sensei will be with Kiki. Irika said as he sees some of the student with confused look on their faces. Irika-sensei, how come Team 11 have 4 members instead of 3? Choji asked as he and the other nod with him in agreement. Irika rubbing the back of his head before speaking. Well, since we have an odd number of students, it would make sense to have one of them in that team as an extra. He said before saying something in his head, not to mention they actually have more experience and skill that they couldn't imagine. Irika thought as he have a bit of a flashback on that day. Okay, we get that, but why the baka in that since he dead last? If anything, he should. Sakura spoke before as something flew past her and embedded in the desk behind her. She then felt something wet, as she checked to see that she was bleeding. Should what, Miss Haruno? Kiki said as she stepped right out of Irika's shadow, making everyone jump, including Irika since he didn't since realize she was right behind him. Sheesh, Kiki. How long have you been behind me? Irika asked as he was holding his chest from the almost heart attack he got. Not knowing she literally stepped out of his shadow. Been behind you when you left your house, and I got to say you have a very nice routine. Although you should mix things up every once in a while, she said with a giggle as Irika was making a good imitation of a fish. The other beside Team 11 was surprised that someone was able to be behind Irika the whole time, that not even Irika noticed them. Sasuke felt that Irika wasn't fit to be a ninja, if someone that was below him could stay hidden without anyone noticing them. Although he not going to admit that he didn't even notice them as well. After she was done giggling, she then looked at her team, with a serious look on her face. Team 11 meet me at this area, she said, throwing Kunin that have a seal note on it as the Kunin head right to their hands, in which everyone but them freak out. Although it was kinda a waste since it just hit between their fingers. Naruto, Cynthia, Kana, and Robin took it and read what was in the note, before ripping the note in pieces. What the hell, Kiki? You could have, Irika said as he was about to scold her, but was surprised that she was already gone. How the nevermind, enjoy you lunch everyone, because after that you be meeting you new sensei, although Team 11 I'm pretty sure you're going to meet up with you right now. He said, looking at Naruto and his team, as they nod and left to meet with Kiki. Wonder what they're going to do since they already know each other. Irika thought as he put his hand in his pocket, and left the classroom of his now former students. He then felt a piece of paper that wasn't there before. What the? He looked at the paper in which was from Kiki that said, Irika, meet me and my team at this coordinates once you're done with the class. Once you read this paper it will detonate in 10 seconds. Irika panicked as he tossed the paper in the trash bin and ducked for cover, before it exploded blue paint and glitter all over the ceiling. He lay there looking at the ceiling as he pants, thinking it was a real explosive seal. That woman is going to be the death of me, he said as he left, not wanting to clean up Kiki's mess and just let someone else do it. At Mother Nature dinner. Drat, I almost got him. Kiki pouted as she and her team was inside the restaurant that was empty at the moment for them to have peace to themselves, looking through a mirror that she have with her to see if Irika got hit from the paint. Said team laughed, since Irika was hard to get a prank on, although Naruto did remember Irika saying he was a prankster when he was Naruto age. Well, it just go to show that Irika is hard to get, mom, Naruto said, drinking his tea. I remember last month before me and Robin have to leave tried to get him to read our glitter bomb book trap, but he managed to toss it away before it activated, Kana said as her brother nodded in agreement. Kiki sighed but giggled as well. True, I guess, but I'm sure to get him, huh? She said with a wink as Ami came with their order, before siding next to Naruto. The day you get Irika with your prank is the day Naruto gets Cynthia pregnant with 10 kids. Ami said, making both team pale at the thought of having 10 kids. I would rather have 1 kid than 10, Ami, Cynthia said as she can't imagine herself with 10 kids or even having a big pregnant belly with 10. Why, 1 would be enough, Naruto said as he would probably go nuts. Ami smiled playfully as she joked a bit more. Sure you don't, although Cynthia does need the hips for it to happen, she said, making her finger turn into a water tentacles. Although she got a karate chop in the head from Ken. Come now, Ami, enough with the teasing, you're going to make them faint if you continue on like that, he said as Naruto blushed more at the thought, as Cynthia paled more, not wanting her hips any bigger again. Ami just stick her tongue out at him before saying meanie as she and Ken went back to work, as Irika came in. Hey Irika-sensei, over here, Naruto said after snapping out of his thoughts seeing his sensei, that he will always consider. You know I'm not your sensei no more, Naruto, that fall under you mom now, Irika said before pointing at the Oni women in human flesh. And you? Are you trying to give me an heart attack? I thought you were trying to kill me right there, he said as Kiki just smiled at him. Oh Irika, it was just for fun, but also something me and the other do to make sure we are sharp as ever. By playing a prank? Irika asked, still not getting the point on pranking. Kiki nodded before Kane spoke. Yup, it how we tend to get more experience on our skills since pranks are kinda like assassination. Just a bit less killing and a lot more funny. Giggle. I see, Irika said as he looked at Kiki and asked. So what is that you want since you call me here? Kiki just smiled at him. Well, straight to the point already, the lady must love it when that happen, she joked, as Irika facepalmed at that. She then looked around before whispering to him. Well, the reason is already obvious. I know their skill already for them to pass their true test, but I want you to see just how well they will do. Especially their opponents. Smiling at him since that was bug him for some time. How did you? It one of her many skill, she can get in the head of anyone even without torturing them to do it, Ami said as she had her notebook ready. We all pretty much have it, but Kiki-sama is far more better than the rest of us. Now can I take your order, Irika? She said with a smile, seeing him shocked from that information. I'll have my usual please and a cup of coffee, he said as Ami write it down. Got it, one Irika, simple dish coming right up, she said and left. Kiki just laughed at Irika annoyed face. Don't worry, she does that, to everyone order. Just know that sometime it depend on the dish you're ordering that she will nickname it. Irika nodding at that as it made sense. I see, but to answer your question, I might as well see for myself then, he said as he got his coffee as Kiki smiled a bit more as the other nod their head that Irika would be seeing them. Good, we'll meet in the Uzumaki training ground tomorrow at 5 in the morning. What if Naruto finds his parents summons beast? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.